Futures absolutely flying here this morning on the back of a report early this morning from Axios that came out suggesting both Iran and the U.S. are close to an agreement on a one-page memorandum that would set the stage for the potential resolution to this conflict. Finally, more truth being posted this morning from President Trump as well, suggesting that that could be right around the corner as well. Oil absolutely off a cliff as a result, down more than 10% right now for WTI. USO following suit, energy stocks following suit as well. One of those things where individual energy names going to follow the price for crude in the short term anyways. So the energy sector going to be one to watch to the downside. On the other side of things, though, plenty to keep in mind this morning, including, AMD, absolute monster, soaring here this morning. A little bit of a pullback right now through to 420. But what a move that was after the close last night, and then here this morning on the back of an absolute stellar report. I mean, there's tons of these things to get through. Uber with a nice move as well on a better than expected report. GLW, Corning, even Corning gets an Nvidia deal. So Corning up huge this morning, approaching $200 here in the last 30 minutes.
This is not a small stock. It's up like 20%.
Yeah.
Who does this think it is? A small cap gapper?
Crazy.
You know, a fantastic look here, guys. Good morning to everybody. Very green morning to you. Markets at all-time highs. The Qs are working in close here to 700, well above 7,300 on the ES. It's greenery everywhere. That is, of course, unless you're trading USO. As Brendo mentioned, a lot of negativity there. USO very close to opening SSR on the morning. ANET, Brendo, one of the very few red names. Aritzia Networks reporting earnings yesterday. They're down high single digits here, 8.25%. Lucid also, they can't seem to catch a break. You know, like,
does it even matter at this point? I mean,
not really.
Like, they're not going anywhere.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the gravity. I've been seeing more of them around here. Fantastic car, far too expensive to be any meaningful, model. But you gotta like a lot of what you're seeing here, guys. NVO up high single digits, CVS up 5 1/3. Disney also the first report with the new CEO at the helm. Looking good here, a lot of green.
Yeah, I think a little better than expected even for that Disney report. We'll dig into that as well. This was the note I was mentioning this morning, or the report from Axios came out exactly 3 hours ago. Again, U.S. and Iran closing in on a one-page memo to end the war, potentially. And it looks like the sticking point, as it has been for the past couple of weeks, has been around the nuclear development or the uranium enrichment program and how they're going to resolve that. But we could see, according to this, anyways, we could see ships starting to move through the Strait of Hormuz as early as today.
I'd really hope.
This morning, potentially, even if you're on North American time. Which will be huge, obviously, for not only equity markets, but energy markets to cool down a little bit. And here is the fallout from USO following West Texas Intermediate downside in a big way. Although we're getting a pretty good bounce right now, back above 130 here right now for USO. Again, Trump's been all over Truth Social this morning, talking pretty tough on this, essentially saying if they don't take this deal, that's it.
That's exactly it. And he truthed about 20 minutes ago. A couple of things I want to add to that. So El Arabiya, which is basically a news, an Arabic news organization, basically saying that what the U.S. Media outlets are publishing is kind of not fully reflective of the current situation. He's saying progress is being made with Washington, but they don't cover the nuclear talks, just basically about secession of belligerencies. Then President Trump, about 20 minutes ago, tweeted or truthed, the following: assuming Iran agrees to give what has been agreed to, which is perhaps a big assumption, the already legendary, Brendo, epic fury will be at an end, and the highly effective blockade will allow the Hormuz Strait to be open to all, including Iran. If they don't agree, the bombing starts, and it will be, sadly, a much higher level of intensity than it was before. Thank you, of course, for your attention.
So there you go. I mean, there was hints at this, I think, late in the day yesterday, or in the afternoon at least, pointing towards something happening or something in the negotiation back and forth happening. So we'll see what comes of this. If there's any other response, if there's any other details, we will, of course, bring those to you. But, I mean, I zoomed out before we came on here at 8 o'clock. I zoomed out to a weekly chart on the S&P 500. I mean, 6 weeks in a row, just straight higher. Like, absolutely no pause whatsoever. Here we are up better part of 1%. I mean, you and I were talking about small caps. Russell's up more than 2% already this morning, absolutely screaming.
The average beat on earnings is like 28%. Yeah. That's not a small amount, right? Yeah. And again, you know, so many of us, pardon me, were worried, again, as you and I talked about yesterday, about the kind of the inflated nature of this AI trade. The market was really not pricing that. And we keep seeing things sold out, people buying more CapEx flowing in here. So it looks good for many different parts of the stack. Did you see Cummins and some of these other generators? Again, like part of the stack. Cummins is like up 15% in the last week or so. So kind of a good look for all angles.
But it shows you the eagerness, I guess, or the want from the market itself to get back to focusing on what matters, and earnings are definitely the key to that. So. Again, we'll keep our eyes out for anything further on this as we head through the morning this morning. Coming back in for the market right now a little bit, guys, but monsterly positive. Is that a word? Monsterly positive to start things off. Good morning.
Monsterly? Well, you just said it, so it is, I guess.
You just mentioned like a rundown of our list. It's like it's so many amazing stocks on here. I didn't even like even Oscar. I mean, we're not giving love to Oscar here. Oscar up 11%. They had a huge report as well. Look at the stock of this healthcare name. So it's not all just turbines and Corning and glass and AI, everything. There goes Oscar right to the top side as well. Plus, we also have the best news of the day as well, with these Maple Leafs finally catching the #1 overall pick. So 8% chance of that one. So we'll see what winds up happening.
It reminds me of the Knicks in the 80s.
Yeah. It was about getting Patrick Ewing?
It was a similar thing, right? You have the storied franchise. It's like at a big-time turning point. It was like they need something.
It's been 10 years.
And then all of a sudden.
And then San Jose went from 10 to 2, so congratulations to everybody there. And I was telling this to Randy, I think there's a world where San Jose comes for Austin Matthews and gives us an offer we cannot refuse. So that's what I'm hoping for winds up happening here. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting day. Yeah, and all the stocks up, Randy. Today.
Unless it's oil.
Lucid, unless it's oil-based stuff. But
boards are fired today.
So, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be an amazing day to trade, man. I mean, Google's up, AMD's up 20%. Even SMCI, I can't believe you say even SMCI. But
although that's been pulling back.
Come on, microphone. What's going on over here?
SMCI has pulled a little bit. Some of these things have pulled back as oil's bounced higher, but it's still ridiculously impressive. Here. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure out why my from the open column is moving on the NASDAQ stocks. But look, SMC at 12 points. ARM hasn't even reported. They report tonight and they're up 11%. You got CCL up 7. Even Chinese names like Alibaba's up 4. It's a decent day for crypto, up 82. But it is worth keeping an eye here on US because we've been basically just it's been all buy on oil. And I do think you'd be patient to maybe look for a bit of a fade. It's a huge trend break here and gap down on USO. So I do feel like at some point you get to like a crest, maybe near the open, maybe shortly after that, and we get like that bit of a rollover to try and see if we can take a second leg. Intel gapped up a bunch. That's looking a little bit weak. Uber with a strong report. They're breaking out on the daily here, catching a bit of a bottom. And then you have all the traditional names doing good. The things that will disappoint today, Apple and Nvidia, I suppose. But you know what?
Is Apple down?
Yeah.
Man, what the hell?
Well, you know what?
So that's it.
That's
it. I'm selling it.
Well,
I'm selling Apple.
It got basically to the highs. It's without a catalyst. When the AI boom trade goes, Apple's like, yeah, well, we're different. So it's fine.
Apple,
whatever. They're up 0.7% on the biggest up day ever. That likely just means that instead of today getting to the all-time high, we get there tomorrow.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you have no cloud or no anything like that. Poor Meta, man. I was looking at my account. It's like I still have a whole shoot ton of Meta stock, and it's like, come on, man. Let's get going at some point, Meta, but we'll talk about all these stocks. Yeah, come on, bro. And I was just saying, like, imagine getting all your money in sometime about last year and in some of these names. And we were just, it's so stupid to look at charts, but, I mean, this is what we do all day. It's just kind of like Google was $150. It's going to break $400 today. You know, SanDisk is up 4,500% this year, 52 week, trailing 52 weeks. 4,500%. We talked about putting in a certain amount of money into certain names and what it would have been like, right? I mean, it's all ifs and buts. What we have to look forward to is forward. You know, you can't always think about what did we miss, because as Drake says, what did I miss? Well, you missed this whole run if you don't. By the way, that was the last rap song that ever made the top 10, and that's about to change in about 9 days. $96 here in AMD, up a 4 spot, up to 416, and just keeps on motoring, man. So maybe it's Tesla that's next. Maybe it's Meta that's next. Maybe, you know what I was actually looking at, Brendo? I don't know if this is one of your picks, but Constellation, someone on the floor has this. Like, this is another one that I feel like, you know, you see GE Vernova going, you're seeing a lot of these power plays starting to go upside. I was just looking right here. Yeah, Iran, yeah. I was looking right here, 330. I mean, you're looking like you want to get going here, maybe on Constellation. So this is a name that I'm debating pushing into a little bit here, because I don't think this data center love is really going anywhere. I've been saying it for months that I don't understand why Constellation is lagging. Yeah, so I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. It's undervalued. I even heard it on CNBC multiple times. Yeah, well, that's why somebody make it make sense. And I say that as someone who loves GE Vernova, and I get it. You want to go with the winners, ride the winners type of game. But there's so many stocks. It was a good example of it too. Like, where when we get this kind of a push in the highs, it's not all about the things that are making fresh highs every single day. It's also about the ones that are joining the move because they found a base. And you have to also keep in mind that just because you're not at an all-time high does not mean the stock isn't in an upward trend, right? It's just taking a little bit of time off, but it's still very distinctly in an upward trend. It's just had some really heavy pullbacks without getting back to the top. We got a super chat from Ja. I feel like it's all going to be about chips. We just got a Tesla question in here if I can find it. Thank you very much there, Assassino. Tesla, the quiet chip play, long for 400. Yeah, I mean, Jensen said they got the best stack. They're not really getting, it's like they're not getting enough of the credit. But it's rightfully at this point, like most people are probably looking at Tesla as this is about autonomous and this is about robotics, right? And the reason that they can win in those has something to do with their stack, but they're also it is very much standing to benefit from AI. It's just the stock is what it is at this point, and I find that on days where everybody's attention it's going to be in the chips, it's going to be in the data centers. Usually, like, something comes out of nowhere. Some days it's like Apple, if we go sideways. Tesla has a tendency to do that. So it wouldn't surprise me, but without it breaking that $400, that's the 400 is it. Like, everything comes with that break. It failed it yesterday pretty spectacularly. So even if it got up there again today, it's like it has to prove that it can punch through, or you could get one of those nasty reversals. But yeah, it's a great AI play. I just feel like it's not in the hype zone right now, which is fine. You don't have to be in the hype zone. Sometimes it's a good thing not to be in it, and when you're doing nothing and going sideways and it catches the breakout, catches everybody off guard, and that makes it even better. So there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if a stock that I like, unfortunately not getting a huge discount here, is not languishing, but like basing out, that's a great thing sometimes. But needs that 400 in a bad way. Sucks about yesterday. Eric Jackson has printed many millionaires himself with Open Door, and HUD 8 is a call that he made down here at $35-40 as well. So that's an Eric Jackson play right there, up to 102, 115 today. HUD 8, a name that I was in single digits and sold it, but HUD 8, just an absolute monster there as well. As that continues to go up, was 1 point Canadian name taken over there, and now boom to the upside. HUD 8, an absolute monster today as well on a power deal. $9.8 billion lease there. So boom in Texas. Nice move up there for HUD. That continues to go. So shout out to Eric Jackson. I remember what he was talking about. This was an infrastructure play for crypto and energy and everything, and completely right about that one, as there it goes upside on HUD. So shout out again to EWJ Capital. Eric Jackson, as it just continues to go higher there for him, up another 27%. So, yeah, man, it was funny because it comes over to Neil and I. We just talk all about tech in the data center. We opened the show here talking about USO.
And it's just
so
flying.
maybe there's something brewing here, Brendo, because ever since we opened there, USO is just basically shooting straight up as we worry about maybe this sort of deal, or not a deal, but that letter there not being considered or not being as welcomed as maybe it was an hour ago. But you know what I mean? Oil is going to do what it's going to do. Down 8% is still a great level for us to consider. You can see what the market's doing here as oil is going one way, market coming completely back in. But hey, man, the Nasdaq's up 1.1% right now. It's going to be really hard to complain about what we're seeing. Maybe there's going to be a little bit of a pullback once this market gets going. We still have an hour 15, to sit here and watch out for USO. Another thing that's been going ham today, of course, is silver. That was another move that was up, I don't know what it was, 6-7%. Well, now it's back down. Yeah, so as this is coming back in, we could probably take a look at the dollar as well. That was up to 70 there for SLV. Maybe we can play a little bit off that there as well. But yeah, I don't know. What's up to John there in the chat? It says optimism returns. I mean, I'm not sure where optimism has gone. I mean, Optimus Prime, we know it where's he's hovering around somewhere. But the Qs, I mean, if this is not an optimistic daily chart in the NASDAQ, then I mean, this is an index right here. This is not, Iran. This is not SanDisk. This is the NASDAQ right here, breaking with what? 1, 2, 3, 4 red days since April 1st. It's May 6th. So, this is a very, very... And, whoa, what about the Russell? I mean, we're not even cutting rates anytime soon, apparently. And the Russell continues to cook upside right there. So let it cook as that continues to make new highs as well, breaking completely out. And this is all, by the way, as USO puts a double on year to date. So, I mean, this is just what's happening in this market, and we're going to have to trade it the way it is, man. Yeah, records all abound today. Right. That is for sure. And yeah, couldn't be happier. The account's good. Man, Toronto Sports is popping right now.
I know Sharif's happy because Arsenal is going to the Champions League final. And I'm not a soccer expert or football expert by any means. But it kind of looked like a foul to me, Sharif. I'm just saying it looked like a penalty should have been awarded. But what do I know? What do I know?
I'd be lying if I told you I knew it was.
I'm just I hop on when I'm on X, and there's obviously whatever Arsenal. So I'm like, hey, Sharif, awesome, that's your team. They go into the Champions League final. But there's a lot of controversy on X about some calls that didn't get made in their favor. Let's just say. But you know what? They got the dub.
I mean, sports are rigged, so we've already talked about that. But hey, we got the #1 pick, so
exactly.
Over to Sharif.
Can I say something? The only thing that was a foul, Neil, was playing 11 guys behind the ball for 90 minutes. They had no ambition to score. It's like you're going to come away, you're tied, and you're just going to play everybody behind the ball. Where's your ambition, baby? Let's go. We had 9-1 opportunities for shots. That's the criminal thing. That's the foul, Neil. They should get a yellow card for that. Kidding.
Oh, I'm sure they outplayed him. I knew if I say it, I'll get a little bit of a rise out of the man there. No, but in all seriousness, we are this is actually extending now in USO. I was looking at the support level. I wrote an area down for SLV at 68.5. It's coming right in. But now I'm looking at the actual support level at 68 before you fill in the next gap. And then USO was headed.
It's ripping.
Forget about it.
By the time we open up.
We're almost filling in this gap here. 130. I'm going to draw some lines on here just to remind myself. If you go right into some prior support and resistance, you've got this little target window that it's flying into. So one truth and all the exuberance sort of coming out of I don't want to say coming out of the market because USO is absolutely flying. But if you look at something where all this started from, AMD, it's pulled back, but it's still up 17%. But you are seeing a pullback, and that's still up 1.2. But the USO just can't be beat. Brendan?
It's worth mentioning here, guys. Trump actually coming out saying, quote unquote, telling the New York Post, quote unquote, too soon to prep for Iran peace signing deal. And then the Iranian side actually responded to the Axios article directly, saying the Axios text is the Americans' wish list. Until it becomes reality, Americans will not obtain through a failed war what they failed to gain in face-to-face negotiations. Iran has its finger on the trigger and is ready if they do not surrender and grant the necessary concessions. Goes on and on and on. So that was very pointed. The Axios article was very pointed in a positive tone for some sort of resolution. But I mean, that response and then Trump coming out saying, we're not there yet.
And I think this goes back to the point that you and I have been making on this desk, I think, for maybe a couple of months now, which is who's leading the negotiations in Iran? Who's to say that the different factions, and trust me, there's factions, are in agreement? How do you know that, the politicians are in agreement with the military guys, that they're in agreement with the technocrats or the people who run the bureaucracies? So it's anybody's guess what's going on behind the scenes, and I think this is creating a lot of uncertainty. Yeah. And a lot of the start-stops that we've seen when it comes to the ending of this war. How many times have we seen, okay, maybe we're towards the finish line a little bit, and then you kind of make that lower low to bring in a trading reference? It just seems the language from both sides is so far apart still. The messaging from both sides is so far apart still. So yeah, I mean, a bit of a pullback right now, but USO, as you guys said, absolutely ripping. It's worth noting, Microsoft didn't really move on this, but reportedly considering delaying or abandoning altogether their plans to be essentially clean power focused by 2030 for data centers entirely. Really? So they had a plan in place to, by 2030, be powering data centers entirely with clean energy, apparently considering kiboshing. And that concerns me a little bit, because how many times have we seen these data centers get canceled? Not just because power is going to go up for the residents there, but because, well, as the Memphis residents will tell you, they're not very happy with these gas turbines that Elon Musk is using for the XAI data center. So, I figured, there would be a bit of a different push by Microsoft to sort of kind of assuage some of those fears. I guess maybe the dollars speak a little bit more. Yeah. We also got that, worth noting, we also got that weekly ADP number just came across there, 109,000 I'm seeing. Which is a little better than expected, but 109,000 for that ADP employment number, guys.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's necessarily going to... Look, employment matters, and I guess that's what the Fed is concentrating on. It's outside of that and energy prices, but no, we're moving right now because of chips and because of USO. On that Microsoft, yet another name. We talked about Tesla wasn't really doing much. I don't remember if it was like slightly down or maybe flat. Apple was down a little bit today. Yeah. Microsoft is down 0.3. So like the one thing we didn't mention is like the software names. Like not all of them are looking entirely good. Palantir had a big quarter and they continue downside. They're actually flat. Palantir is actually not down. But they're flat into an upward market. So you do have a little bit of weakness in the perceived software names, even if, it's not like Palantir is not an AI play. It's not like Microsoft isn't. But in that sector, the IGV has been languishing a bit. Palantir, on the other hand, it's still holding the 135. So the bounce spot from yesterday is still holding. As long as it holds this low, I still think it has a chance to go. Unfortunately, it's going to be probably a bit of the back of the mind today, because it's in addition to how many just traditional, like the chip names that are moving around, like Intel and AMD are off the charts. You've got the USD moving, so silver is going to be volatile today. I think that's back on the tap. You've got energy names out there. Then you've got like Uber and Oscar. There's so many things out there that I don't know that Palantir will be at the front of the mind. But I like the hold of the 135 and what that can set us up for, hopefully for this breakout on the daily. But that's the thing, like if this breakout on the daily doesn't happen, then it's just a swing that doesn't go. I guarantee you there's gonna be some interesting options activity with all of this volatility, so let's go over to the screen.
All right, guys, welcome and good morning. Let's take a look at some of the activity from yesterday's session. We have some heavy hitters on the board here today, guys. We're going to kick things off with advanced micro devices. A deep in the money contract at this point after the bell, climbing substantially, almost 20% here, guys. But we're going to be looking at that $400 level. That is going to be deep in the money at the open. And watch for your Greek metrics to drastically change as soon as that bell rings. All right, open interest, guys. We're going to be looking at that $400 mark. Once again, 10,400 contracts still currently open, but with 27,200 open and closed on yesterday's session leading into the report. That is going to be expiring this Friday. Now, as for our bid in the ask, guys, relatively cheap, speaking so, and then we also have a $10 spread. $3.25 you're going to be purchasing, but that's going to increase after the open, and then $3.15 if you are looking to write. But this is a call, guys, so be cautious, especially when you have an underlying that is continuously gapping up and up substantially in the morning. Now, as for your delta, it's sitting around that $16 metric, but that is going to drastically change as after the open, you're going to see a big time increase within that. Now, your gamma exposure relatively light, and considering that we're going to be climbing more in the money, gamma is the greatest at the money. But one thing that we want to point out is that our implied volatility, we see an uptick off of that report, 120% here on the yesterday, Now, as for this contract itself, guys, we had a solid session within AMD, but this specific contract gained 127% alone throughout the intraday session. So it just shows you the power of the options. Moving forward, let's take a look at MicroStrategy. Another in-the-money contract here, guys. $180 is going to be that strike price. But as for the open interest, we are sitting around 39,300, which is substantial for this name, but volume relatively light with 3,860. But if we're looking at our delta exposure, relatively high. And I mean, this is less than half the price of AMD, but look at the value within these contracts, $10.65 on the ask and $10.25 on the bid. So if you're a purchaser, you're on the ask, and if you're a writer, you're on the bid. Now, as for the implied volatility, sitting around 98.5%, and this is the value of the contract over the past couple of days, guys. So it was relatively cheap, sub $2, climbs all the way up to north of $12, and then starting to come back in a little bit here. Moving forward, some more notable mentions. We're going to be looking at SMCI, another in-the-money contract. We're going to be talking a lot about in-the-money contracts here, guys. $30. We're sitting around 16,200 with 15,000 contracts open and closed. Once again, we're all looking at this Friday's expiration cycle. Now, SanDisk continuing to climb. $1,450 strike price, guys, with 3,200 contracts still currently open. That's relatively high considering it's a $1,400 underlying. Now, as for the volume, 1.8 thousand open and close, and then we have Marvell continuing to climb as well too, guys. So a lot of in the money, a lot of contracts are appreciating. With Marvell here, we're sitting around 4,630 contracts still open, but relatively light on the volume. That is going to be at that $165 strike price. A lot of activity, a lot of appreciation in some of these chip names. Makes for some fun options trading. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
I think it's.
Yeah, I was gonna say, thanks for reminding me about Marvell over there.
It's crazy.
I was yesterday. We had a $8 winner there on Marvell, and we had to just not be too patient with it, but we had to wait for it to come back in. And this was yesterday's trade on MRVL, so it just came right into sort of yesterday's, or in this day, it would have been Monday's close, and then we hit that level, and then it just boomed the rest of the day before giving some back there at the close, as many names fell back in just a little bit, and then boom goes the dynamite on Marvell again today, right there. So this has been a name that's been an absolute monster. I was more than ever could have wished for MRVL, but just another one of those plays that, as we keep on looking down at the portfolio, you checked out SanDisk, and I'm not in that name, but I really like Marvell here again today. If we do get a dip down, I just wrote it down right now, between 170 to 171. So I don't that was a big move. I'm not, we were waiting for the closing prices. I think that the closing prices are obviously very important, but that was just a little bit too dramatic. So I'm going to go in and around here. That's 170.50. So we'll see if 171 comes into play. That's where your 200 period moving average is. But we don't want to catch falling knives. So we have to make sure that something like this happens, right, where we get a little bit of love down here for some sort of a level. And yesterday's price action on Marvell, I don't know if I tweeted it out or not yesterday. I don't even know how to go to my own thing here. But if we just look where we got it, yeah, there's that draft lottery. Great opportunities yesterday. Okay, there's AMD. Like yesterday, we were long AMD right there with everybody at 230. At 352, we were long AMD yesterday, right there, as you guys saw. Yeah, there's Marvell. So Marvell, that's what I mean. So see how it based out yesterday around 1040? This is when we went long, and this is what wound up happening with Marvell. And then there's our final out before that tank on Marvell. So if you looked at yesterday's trade, and we just say, okay, how are we doing that? This is what we did yesterday. We waited for it to come back in. There's the double buy. There's the move higher. There's our out when we finally cracked through the 200 period. So we'll just try to hold a little bit more when that happens. But again, a lot out at the, I mean, this is the thing. This is a 164. Those are 167s. So it's a nice little out there. Came back in. Could have got re-long again and didn't. So I'm going to look at Marvell here again today. So I want to thank Joe for bringing that one up to my attention again, because I just kind of go through the watch list, and whatever's hot on there, I try to find some levels. But today it's going to be, again, just littered. Yesterday, I think I only traded NASDAQ names. Today will probably be the same right here with Marvell, Intel, Google, all on my mind. And then bang! Like I said, many were not buying down there on crypto. I didn't even really believe it myself. I put a little bit in at 66, and then now it's all of a sudden back up to 82, and maybe making its run now goes IBIT. We can just look at IBIT, but this has been a huge move up for Bitcoin as well. And they're just trying to get through this. Now that we've held 80, we'll see if we can climb back up to the promised land here on BTC. Strategy only holding 820,000 Bitcoins. So,
now willing to sell?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So we'll have to wait to see what ends up happening there with IBIT. But yeah, still going higher here today. So, yeah, happy with the performance so far. And trading has been great for the last little while. So, as we said, man, what a record month April was. And it looks like May wants to try to say, catch me if you can. So,
well, I still don't think May can do what, I don't think for the long-term accounts, May can do what April did.
I mean, yeah, that's not rocket science. I think that's...
Yeah, because it was historical, but, like, you have to remember, like, if you go up 5% in a month, that is tremendous.
I mean, 2% is fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. 20% was complete and utter insanity. But there are some, as crypto goes higher, like, there are some good, better names than others. Like, I look at Hood. Hood is gapping and up 2% and has been making a good bounce off of the lows after those earnings. But there was one from yesterday, and I know we're going to go back up. I think we have Luis coming on. There was one from yesterday. Remember the rug job that Coinbase had off of that top? I want to keep this one on the radar because, yeah, it absolutely and abjectly failed this top again. But it's still in a slight upward trend. This one has a breakout potential coming in here. Still at that 216.5. But the thing about it, when you get a rejection off of a big resistance spot, sometimes that just means the breakout eventually is going to be better because there's a wealth of sellers on Coinbase up in those mid-teens there for sure. We're going to go back up to the desk. I'm sure there's some small cappers moving around, and we got Luis coming on through so we can get to those. A lot to cover today. There's just so much moving.
Broadcom also worth a note. I mean, here this morning, maybe as a sympathy play here after what happened last night with AMD, if you want something that might be a little bit less volatile or potentially less volatile, nice pop after the close, and then here we are back to highs. I mean, this whole group is going to be in focus today, I think.
Yeah, I was looking at microchip semiconductor list, and there's really not a whole lot that's red, maybe just Texas Instruments probably on some profit taking. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of this. You're going to see the parallels here between the GPUs and the custom ASICs. Both are valid, both are required by these hyperscalers. Flexibility with the GPUs, specific tasks for custom ASICs, better power, better energy consumption, better utilization just in general, Brendo. So we'll have to see how Broadcom does today. I think it hit all-time highs yesterday, but barely.
It's crazy. Google as well, another one. Alphabet back to 396 here right now, but chopping around inside the range from last night. We got so close to $400 last night, and as the guys were mentioning, something to watch potentially for Alphabet coming up today. Let's get Luis in here and get some small caps to maybe add to your list this morning as well. Luis Barbado joining us from the Real Trading Office over in Barcelona, Spain. As always, good morning, Luis. It has been a very mega cap focused couple of weeks here for the overall market. Just start high level here from, that being said, IWM up 2% here this morning. Small caps have been absolutely ripping as well, but the focus from a headline perspective, obviously elsewhere.
Yeah, everything is ripping and the volatility is crazy. The oil today, like 12% down, gold and silver ripping. So it's very, very dangerous market if you're trading index and big caps. And if you're wrong and don't take your losses, it's a very, very volatile market.
All right, let's get into a few because there are quite a number of these things moving around here this morning. A lot of people talking about this one already. EVC, not necessarily something for the catalyst reason, something that you would be looking at, but give me your thoughts here to start things off on EVC.
Yeah, not for the catalyst side because it's earnings play. It's not our favorite catalyst to trade, but the chart looks pretty nice. I have to say we have a very clear fail highs here, and now it's struggling to hold VWAP, to hold support. So let's see how it opens. If it gets to the opening bell around this price, it will be very interesting to check if we have a short squeeze and then a fail, or we have seen holding around and playing around the VWAP. It might be time for long. So it's going to be very, very important, the opening bell and the volume in the opening bell. If we just keep playing around VWAP, it might be a long bias trade in the midday, when the lunch time, when the volume drops, we might see a nice VWAP reclaim. But if we see some short squeeze or failing supports and VWAP, it will be all the way down to $5 probably.
I wanted to bring this up specifically for the higher time frame look. Most of these names, when you come on with us in the morning here, that we look at are the opposite of this. So you kind of hinted at a long bias here. The trend is not necessarily down. So when you see that, is there a tendency to maybe back off a little bit and not try and fight that trend?
Well, here the point is that probably a lot of mid-term, long-term investors are buying this stock because the earnings it's very strong, and because what they call the pivot point. It's a kind of strategy that you buy this breakout for a couple of weeks, a month, 2 months. So you're playing against these guys that they keep buying during the day probably. So if the volumes keeps holding, it might be a long bias, and don't fight that for sure. If it breaks highs, if it breaks VWAP and high of pre-market, just try to avoid the short until you have some lower highs and nice tighter stops that in the opening bell.
All right, I know you've been doing a lot of homework already this morning. Let's see what other names are top of your list at this point.
Well, for us, the main ticker is HAMA, this United Arab Emirates stock. It's low float and it's very, very strong during the pre-market. We have seen some fails here in the 190. If you check the daily charts, you will see some resistance around 180, I think I remember. Let me check it here. You see we have some nice resistance here in the 170, 180 area. We have seen a little bit going forward to 190. Let's see if it fails there now or if it holding me well. Right now, it's a long bias. Sharif will love this stock for sure, buying the base in 170, 160. So let's see if it holds and we have a nice opening bell. We will look for longs on this one until the volume drops. Probably will be a time schedule. So let's say we will not short until 10:30 in the New York time. At that time, if we are seeing volume dropping, it will work probably better the short. But we won't short these over VWAP, over pre-market highs, and over resistance of previous days.
Talk a little bit about the entry plan there. I know for the most part, and anyone who's been watching for a while understands you're mostly on the short side of things. When it comes to a long entry or long bias, as you mentioned, what are you looking for? What do you need to see to actually pull the trigger there?
Well, there is a couple of, let's say, entries when you are long bias. You can buy pullbacks or supports. Like right now, you could buy 170 is a support. We have seen a pullback, so it's a nice entry with a tight stop. The other kind of entry is if you're a breakout trader, you buy breakouts. You buy here when the volumes come in and the new highs are breaking, you buy this Usually, I'm not a fan of breakouts. I know guys, they're like Neil, they aren't either a very big fan of breakouts because we have a lot of failed breakouts, fake breakouts, and all these kind of tricks that the market try to kick traders out of the right position. So I'm more fan of buying pullbacks or supports because I can be more time in the trade holding if I think the volume and the chart price, it's still okay. So, for example, I would buy here. We have a very tight stop here. The only difficult part when you're long this is if it turns and go to highs, you have to hold it. You have to hold until it breaks pre-market highs and you see some short squeeze so you can get out of the long position. So a couple of different entries. When you're long bias, you buy pullbacks and supports VWAPs, or you buy breakouts.
All right. Anything else? I mean, there's a couple names there you were looking at. What else is catching your eye here this morning?
We have a couple of trades. We are waiting for a trade on ESGO, this one, but it seems it already has done it here. We were waiting for a VWAP, what we call a VWAP reclaim. You see this trade here, this as well. It was a little bit far from VWAP, but this is like a second day play. It's a Chinese stock. It has lost volume. The interest has shifted to other stocks, so we were looking this one to short against VWAP, against pre-market highs. You have a very tight stop on this one. If you short here, it's only 10 cents stop. You short here, new highs here, another 10 cents only stop. So it was very nice working this setup here. And we did it also on, you remember this crazy stock, SKK. We were sorting this parabolic, not here, of course, when it fails, and we have seen this VWAP failing, we short here, hold all the way down. This is a second or third day play, I think. If you check at the chart, this went crazy the other day with a lot of halts. I think it was halted for over 1 hour. And today, no one is looking there, so we short these pops. It's a little bit tricky because we have the halted the other day, but remember, pre-market, it's very, very rare that we have halted, so it was a little bit safer to play there.
Great stuff. Luis Barbato back with us at lunchtime, 1 p.m. with the guys on the midday show. We'll recap not only some of these names that we just looked at, but also everything from yesterday as well. Luis, thanks for this as always.
Yeah, we will be there. Look, Erna, it's another one popping up, just pop up and went all the way down very fast.
Unlimited amounts of opportunities today.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Thanks, Luis.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff as always, and as Brandon join us 1 o'clock sharp on the midday show. Luis will be joining us once again today. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades, and we're going to start with Abercrombie and Finch here. We're positive this morning, but going from an equal weight to an underweight with a $76 price target from Barclays. And then we have Lucid Group down almost 5%, going from a buy to a hold by benchmark. And then we have NCLH positive here this morning, buy to a neutral by North Coast. You're up 5% roughly. And then Strategy, substantial price target here. I had to double check this. Benchmark reducing its price target from $705 to $570. Okay, all right, we're a bit of ways away from that, but we'll remain optimistic. Now, excuse me, let's take a look at some of the upgrades. AMD is going to be at the top of the list, 17%, closer to 18, guys, going from neutral to buy by Goldman Sachs with a $450 price target. Arista, slightly negative here. I mean, 8.8 and a fifth here, roughly, getting a price target increase from $161 to $175. ANET is negative this morning. Now, AMC getting the nod, guys. You're up 6 and a third here, going from a hold to a buy with a $225 price target, once again by benchmark. A lot of action here from the analysts. Now, JP Morgan also getting the nod, 13% on SMCI, going from a holding a neutral weight, but increasing their price target from $28 to $32. You're up 13% here this morning. Send it back to Neil and Sean.
Well, there you go. And I guess if you're looking for short, Lucid can be your game, right? They reported they got a downgrade. They reported yesterday. They got a downgrade. They're a reverse split that's only been falling. So it's not everything that is rallying like crazy. I mean, I feel like all the names on the upgrade list, Sans, AMC, are probably things that we're looking to talk about or already in your watch list. But there's some I guess suppose like the day 2 action here, like this might not be ridiculous if it were to get to the upside. Like anytime you have a trend, right? Like the trends work in both directions. If something's trending down, you can always just look for fade opportunities there. Lucid not participating at all. Yeah, I feel like AMC. Congratulations, everybody. I don't know about this one. Maybe it's good. Maybe this has made a bottom. It's a great run off the dollar level. Fantastic. Maybe it's got a little bit more run to get into a $1.90, but it's a pass. The chips are really pulling back in here. The volatility is going to be there. Lucid looks a little bit interesting if it can catch a bit of a bid for a fade to continue the trend. I'd pass on that one. Stick with the chips.
I put a note in the chat earlier this morning, and it was kind of like anybody buying AMD up here kind of feels a little toppy to me. Obviously, it's been pulling back. I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't know if anybody was hitting the buy key at 430 this morning, the price 430. But yeah, I mean, it's very, very possible that we come back into 390 right here on AMD. I mean, I saw in the grade upgrades and downgrades. Obviously, it's been upgraded, and I would say it's just absolutely a rocket ship, and I would see that continuing today. I don't think 430 is out of line to get back up to that today, but yeah, this is definitely something that is now starting to look much more like a short. I mean, if you hide the symbol and I show you this, I think that would be a pretty easy one to look at. There's your 50-period moving average right here. Now we're under VWAP, of course, and we start to get a little lower here into that 390 spot. So watch out for AMD on a pretty aggressive pullback as we speak. But I mean, it's a great day to get long, and I just put it out here. You can guys check out the sticky note. It's jam-packed with chalk plays. Google long, Intel long, Marvell long, Nvidia long. Just 4 amazing names. And you know, we always say it, man. And Neil said it yesterday, a couple days ago. It just takes one good trade, and you know, we'll hopefully be able to put up a bunch of them here. And I just kind of focus on that. And like some days we'll go 3-1, or we've been lucky enough to go perfect on trades that we're looking for. So I think if you just try to play the momentum, and look, if the market absolutely cranks and we're caught to the downside and we're caught long on a couple names, I mean, at least they're names that, you know, we've looked at the levels. I like the stock. If we get caught long on them, we have we have outs all the time. So if Google does come back in, which Google's not doing what AMD's doing, right? Google's actually getting a bit higher. This is going to be a good name for me. And then I don't know, like the guy that had the vision of this whole thing, Jensen, is the one wondering what's going on with his name right there. It's just, as I said before, it's like the share float on Nvidia is huge, the market cap is huge, and the stock, it just takes a little bit more to get lifted. So we'll see if Nvidia can bounce off of 198. I got to clear up this little wick right there, but 198 was where our 200 period was when we were doing this. So now we're getting upside a little bit, 199 or so for Nvidia. But I think the band just keeps on beating today. Like, you know, the marching band just keeps on going, and Nvidia, everybody else should be able to catch some kind of a bid. And then the other chalk name, of course, we just talked about was Intel, and Intel's been a monster. I mean, we've done really well trading Intel here, so we'll see if we can once again do something similar on INTC. And yesterday's level for Intel, 110. You know, it didn't break above that yesterday, so I'm going to try to use this area right here, 109.50 to 110, as potential support if we do come in here on INTC. And look at this one. This one's already fallen back down in $4 as well. So down 4% right there, Intel. I can't believe it was up 7% at one point, but
one falling.
Yeah, what is that? Uber. Yeah, I mean,
Uber's only up 5% now. Like,
I'm nervous for Uber too.
There's been some really decent pullbacks here. I really didn't like much of anything except for almost total gap fill, or just show me that you have buyers above VWAP. Like, prove it on Uber. Like, good quarter. I guess we'll get into a lot of these.
They missed revenue.
Potential breakout. Like the daily chart is another one of these. You've held the low. You've got to go. You've got like I guess it's a bear flag because it's been in a bit of a downward trend. But it was looking like it was primed for this breakout. But the thing about a breakout is if you can't take out that high or hold the high, forget about it. And now look at the gap fill. You're basically into like first resistance spots, and second are at 75.5. So like the turning spot here is, you could see that one already at the open. And again, there's some names that are selling off a little bit more than others in this pullback on a lot of these earnings names. SMCI, which is another, I mean, the biggest 2% movers were AMD and SMCI. That's been pulling back, maybe not as bad as an Uber, but that's underneath where it was in the pre-market. So you're going to see some volatility off of the open. SMCI's opening candle, I mean, watch, I'll say this and then it'll probably do nothing, but that's one that shouldn't shock you when it's like a couple of dollars on this stock. Remember, it's a $30 stock. Is a few, like that's going to be 5-6 percentage points. It should be doing that in the opening range, no problem. And a gap fill there, you're talking about 29.5. If you don't think that's possible, then you're looking at the wrong stock. A lot of these have the potential for much wider swings at the open. So either it's patience or widened stops. Like that's going to have to be in the playbook this morning early. There's no if, ands, or buts, and there's no way around it. That's kind of volatility we're going to be sitting in here today. Gentlemen.
Just reading this note on OpenAI here, the battle, I guess, court battle continuing. OpenAI co-founder Greg Brockman defending the company's for-profit pivot. Yeah, no kidding. He's getting $30 billion on a payout. So why wouldn't he?
See what Elon was calling him? Greg Stockman and then Scam Altman. Is he taking a page out of Trump's playbook there? Like he's giving people nicknames?
Yeah.
I thought that was funny, obviously.
Crazy.
But it's actually an interesting story, that, Brendo. The judge there. So there's a jury on this trial, but the jury's not going to actually render the verdict of whether, who gets what. They're going to make a suggestion to the trial. I've never seen it structured like this, to the trial judge. And then the trial judge will both render the verdict and award damages, if any. It's a very unique structure. I've never seen that before.
I mean, there's really never been a case like this. Like there's not a lot of precedent to kind of point to and say, that's what happened that time. I was just keeping an eye on these. We're starting to bounce a little bit as oil is continuing to bounce as well. But I mean, if we get some sort of turn in the overall direction here today, a substantial turn for the overall direction, and keep heading southbound, I mean, oil names are going to follow USO. If the market actually starts coming back in, that will probably mean oil's going back up. So, I mean, we have to kind of keep that in mind as well. But not all rosy here today. CVX down huge, Oxy down huge. I mean, pick a producer, it's going to be following oil right now.
Absolutely. And a lot of them didn't want oil at this high of a price because it creates demand destruction. So they were none too plussed about that. But yeah, and another headline coming in here on the wire, Iran is evaluating a U.S. proposal and will share its opinion with Pakistan, says the foreign ministry spokesman. So we'll have Adara here at the big desk. And this is such a news-sensitive story. It's just so many different angles. This
is what I'm saying, though. It's like... on paper, on X, let's be honest, the comments and the narrative are so far apart. Yeah. But then you see something like that when they're saying, we'll consider it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so headline.
It's like, who knows? Who knows at this point? Apple trying to bounce right now as well. There was a report from CNBC suggesting they're spending more than 10% of their revenue on R&D for the first time in 30 years.
That would make sense.
We pointed to, the new guy coming in being the product guy, the old guy going out, not so much the product guy. So that's a decent sized chunk for, specifically development, positioning themselves the best potentially to take advantage of, consumer level or device level applications for AI.
Well, that's exactly it. That's their move here. They want on-device inference, and they've been making that very clear. But let's talk about that removal of the net cash neutrality, right? Where their cash on hand jives with the amount of debt that they have, and they've done that since 2018. No longer the case since the last earnings report. A lot of people were speculating for a couple of reasons. One, more aggressive buybacks, share buybacks, put money in their shareholders' pocket, but also aggressive R&D. We've seen Apple do very little in terms of CapEx. What did they guide the previous quarter? I'm not talking about the next quarter. The previous quarter was like $2 billion they spent. All the while, Meta, I think 135, 160 billion, something like that. Amazon a little bit more. So just kind of a drop in the bucket for Apple.
We'll see. This, if you zoom out a little bit, this December high from last year, not too far away. I mean, 288, $4 or so for Apple, guys, looking great.
It's getting there. It always does, and it will. Whether or not, I think that the neutrality, I like it if it's for buybacks. You want to make sure you don't stray too far away from a winning solution, but they've earned the trust, right? Like they'll. I think if there's a Mag 7 company that you trust with their level of spending, it's probably it's got to be Apple. I think just from a sheer being conservative, it makes a lot of sense for them and it's worked for them. So this is a monthly chart of Apple. And it tells you a lot of the story that you need to know. Like usually when it's in a heavy pullback, it's because something really crazy is happening in the market. And they don't last very long, sometimes a quarter, sometimes it gets a little bit longer than that. But I think we're taking out the highs. It's just today, I'm not really feeling it today on Apple. There's going to be more I feel like there's more volatility elsewhere. Strong run up yesterday, obviously. A lot of things were, but it's more likely a pass. Like you got Google making some actual power moves. You've got the chip names really going ham. What I do like about it though, is if you find yourself, it wasn't yesterday, it was 2 days ago, right? Like if you find yourself with one of these like really big sell days where you almost have like that crazy, oh, what the heck is going on in Apple moments, those levels, they're like these liquidity vacuums. Like they can be really good. And when you see what happened the day after, where it caught just a huge bid after that, like if we see a bit of a gap fill in the morning, that could set us up with a good level that's worth playing off of tomorrow. So that's more what I'd be interested in looking at Apple for. Maybe it gives you a repeat. If you get a bit of a dip, see where it catches a bid and then use that for the following session. We got Rishi with the super chat. ASX and AMKR packaging next bottleneck. Thoughts? Well, I guess you just go right down the line, right? With the chips. Chip packaging is going to be a big deal. And that's been talked about already. That's actually something that Intel can take advantage of and has been taking advantage of. So ASX and we're familiar with AMKR, but Amcor pulling back off. This chart looks oddly enough a lot like ARM's chart. We pulled right back into highs from last week and didn't break. But there's so many, this is the good part. Like there's so many other things that haven't taken out highs, which have a chance to still do a breakout, right? Which are already in the uptrend. They're already fitting the theme. I would argue that this is not more the next thing. It's been going with the move anyways. So it's hard to say this is the next thing that goes when really, you're not talking about a chart that is lacking explosive upside there. But I see your point. I like it. I think you get some of that with Intel if you're already in it as well. JKL with the rainy day report. Yeah, we're getting a lot of that too. Added to short MSTR and Q's pre-market. Still going.
Yeah, I mean, everything's still going on. What is Bitcoin doing right
now? MSTR barely moves on their earnings. It's just how it is. Like, what difference do you care? Like, what do earnings matter? I guess the big thing on their earnings was when they mentioned that they're now willing to sell under certain circumstances Bitcoin and take advantage of opportunities to do so. Yeah, so that's not doing anything to you. I mean, obviously the Qs are flying because of what we see going on in the chip names, but MSTR still nothing special. It couldn't even break yesterday's highs, but we didn't expect anything on earnings anyways. Bitcoin's having a good run. Probably need that to find some kind of a top. 84 is a good resistance on IBIT, or on Bitcoin, sorry. But we're still a couple thousand away from that.
Apple really sucks today, but I think this is an own, don't trade name. I mean, I think if you ever trade out of this name, it should be near the top. So if you did want to think about, sort of repositioning yourself, and maybe you've seen Apple come up to 280 before, back in November, back in December, back in February, and right now, couldn't hate on anybody trying to sell some of this name. So if you don't like it and you think Turnus and all this stuff, they might not come up with the greatest, invention with this flip phone and the copycat phone there, if they can, create some actual action for the foldable side of things. I don't really think foldable phones have been really a thing for Samsung or Google or anything yet. So we'll see if Apple can turn that around. I know that I like the Mac Mini idea. I like everything that Apple's doing. I like that little mini MacBook that they have as well, trying to compete with the Chromebook. So for me, I think the products are there, services is there. So I'm not going to be getting out of anything, but I don't think it's a horrible idea. If you have, been able to buy something and you're looking to raise some cash. I mean, I'd rather get out of Apple right now than Nvidia or anything like that. So I think if you're just going to hold any of the Mag 7 right now, Apple's been at those tops, and I could see, ringing the register a little bit on Apple. But I mean, I'm in it for the long haul. You know, it's, and I just want to clarify something. Like someone in the chat there said, like, I've been hating on AMD. Like I am long, like under $100 here on AMD, and I'm just talking about this parabolic move here. And I think it's actually worth, and again, if we're going to talk about trimming something at some points, you know, trimmed Intel at 90, that's wrong. We only trimmed 15% of it, so we're still rolling with 80% of that trade. But AMD is a one that I would think, you know, after this kind of a move, and I just wonder if that's what people are doing here. It's not to say that I don't like this stock. I mean, this stock could be 450, you know, just sneezing, it's up to 450, and it could run all day. It's just this move is telling you that there are traders coming in here and taking a little bit of profit. And part of the move up too is the NASDAQ exuberance that we've had today. So I'm not going to talk too much about AMD because I guess what? The rundown's coming right now. So that will be on the rundown. But we still really love AMD, and it's been such a monster, and so has Intel, and so have all these names. I mean, Google. It's like, but you can't.
Micron,
you can't go wrong. Go buy yourself a Maple Leaf hat with some of the profit, and enjoy the day, right? Maybe Sharif can finally get that new Arsenal kit he wanted. So,
exactly.
you know, but is Sharif going to sell some Bloom Energy? Who knows? You know, but some of these things have gone parabolic, and there's nothing wrong with taking a little bit off the top, man. We just need some of these other names to get going high side as well. Like, you're stuck in Netflix or Uber. Some of these names are dogs, man. They're just sitting around doing nothing. It's a lot of the spot is in this chip space.
But sometimes you can be a dog for a while, and then you get a crazy breakout. Like Hut would be a good example of that. Hut between October and literally last month, did nothing for you. Absolutely, it was back and forth. Like there was moves. If you were catching bottoms, fantastic. But you know what? That was a long, chop in an uptrend. It's not the end of the world. Like that stock was at 100. That hit 117 today. It was 45, weeks ago. Right, so you can't blame anybody for wanting to.
That's Eric Jackson. You got to follow the smart money, man.
Taking some. Didn't Open Door report this week?
Don't follow us. Follow smart investors.
That's what's hilarious.
Yeah,
Open Door reported this. I swear they reported this week, and I guess it must not have done anything. It doesn't really matter, but no, you look at something like a HUD, and what, people aren't going to be taking profit. At some point, usually, there will always be profit takers on any given day. But just before we go back, I know we're going to talk about how the market's doing, and we're going to get into the rundown and all that good stuff. You're still, USO, hit that 136, pull back, it's threatening the 136 again. This is the kind of the target area that you're looking for reversion on USO. It's still super strong, the bounce off of these lows that we're seeing in oil. But we got the rundown to get through. We'll talk a little futures, and of course, less than 30 minutes now till the open.
Yeah.
Oh. Good morning, guys. All right, let's talk a little bit about the SPY. 723.85 is where we closed out yesterday. We're well above that level right now, having gapped up overnight. 728.81. So the first thing we're going to look at is that 730 area, that $10 level. That's going to be our resistance level 1. If we start selling off for whatever reason, we're going to look to yesterday's closing print. Essentially, again, 723.85 as support, Brendo.
All right, as always, down below right now, hit the link in the description for the watch list. Get that for free every single morning. We tell you what's going on. Individual names, the overall market, and then you come join us at 8 o'clock, and we get you prepared for the open at 9:30. You and I were just going through this AMD chart a little bit here. I was reading, someone posted this. I didn't do the math, but I'll trust it blindly here. If you put 10K into AMD when Lisa Su took over, which was 2014, it's now worth $1.3 million. So 12 years. The price of the stock happened to be at essentially all-time lows when that happened, which is typical for when they make an executive switch. But that's just mind-boggling in 12 years. But just anyway, kind of
speaks to her competency, obviously, as a head of the company
For
there.
sure.
Shout out to Dr. Lisa Su. All right, I got 5 things I want to talk about here, Brendo, when it comes to this report. For the first time ever in the company's history, data center, a euphemism, of course, for AI, is the absolute majority of AMD's revenue combined. Client, gaming, and embedded segments don't make as much as their data center revenue. So good look there. And then the return of the embedded growth, so largely ignored by the media here, has been industrial, auto, and medical chips that grew at 6% and has a higher margin. And then the 6 gigawatt deal that they had with Meta, they said they're starting to realize the first tranches of revenue from that. And they also noted that the ramp up is ahead of schedule, that MI450 that Meta's going to be using coming to market into data centers quicker than Blackwell was. So less issues with that. Thirdly, they have a negative inventory cycle. What does that mean? That means that they can bring, basically the demand is so high that chips are leaving the factory quicker than they can bring them in. That's a good problem to have, especially if you're selling a physical product. And last but not least, Lisa Su on the call specifically called out agentic AI, basically autonomous AI workers. They're the primary driver of CPU growth. And we know CPUs, definitely a larger moat for AMD than it is for Nvidia. As a result, they're basically kind of overtaking Nvidia a little bit when it comes to this new move into agentic AI, because CPUs run that a little bit better.
Yeah, what's going to be in the brains of these things when they come for your jobs? That's one of the interesting questions here. 420 was acting as support, or did hold up early on for a while, guys. We've since let that go with a move down in the market, but still absolutely monstrous for AMD.
Is in the analysis on all of these names in the rundown this hour, brought to you by Gemini, everybody. Because you know what? You know where Bitcoin's going to go?
Yeah.
Hopefully we should all do. And if you do know where Bitcoin is going to close this week, or maybe who's going to win in 2028 in the elections, or where GDP is going to land, then Gemini is for you. Stop arguing and start trading. If we're throwing it up, guys, everybody. Gemini predictions, yes or no markets on crypto, commodities, politics, sports, and more. They got 15-minute, 5-minute crypto markets, so you can trade with confidence, real action in real time. Take advantage of that. You can set your amount. You're able to see the odds, whether you like it or not. Take your shot if you like it, or pass and find something better if you don't, and get paid when you are right. You can always head to Gemini.com/TraderTV, or just simply scan the QR code you see right in front of you on screen to browse their contracts and start trading right now. And this is what it's all about. You want to see, we always want to see markets moving up, but you know, some people look at that profit and they look at that opportunity to take profit. I just saw in the chat someone saying when chips are in their cycles, obviously sometimes getting out on the way up makes a little sense. It always hurts getting out on the way up. We're pretty parabolic here in AMD. We're parabolic in ARM. We're parabolic in Marvell. We're parabolic in Intel. I just think you got to pick one in terms of looking for the action today. I'm more to look at Intel, just given I was able to make one trade, find one spot on it yesterday with patience and get it, and I want to go back to that well. When it comes to AMD, I hate to say it, but 420, I know it's just a round number, but it's turned into a bit of a pivot level. It was already a support on the bounce, and you can sort of see if we were to pop up, I want to see buyers above the 420. And it's more the fact that it's VWAP and it was a pre-market support level. It does give you something to anchor off of, that if we pop at the open and the buyers start to come in, if they can't win at that price, I think you'd be in a little trouble there. Intel, for me, it was one short yesterday, and it was right in here. It was about 109.77, but it was that 110. On the way up, it was like 110 is where we're headed to. I want to look for the short at that particular price. So that range gives you a couple of good spots here. Both the low that got made, the 107.5 on the short, because that held all day long. Like it basically held, like that one dip held that level, and then you've got in here the 110 giving you a target zone. So outside of that target area for a long, I had the pivot level at 114, but I could make an argument that looks more like 113 now that we're sitting down. When you sit down in the morning, 114 looked like it was going to be a good spot. Get above there and it's more of a breakout trade, and you don't have to wait for the dip, but that's looking a little bit more like the 13 level here. And I guess USO is still going because T-Money just typed in the chat, USO with 3 exclamation marks. Oil has not stopped rising. You got to keep a very close eye there, as there's been no break in the trend from the lows on oil.
Guys, you guys know how hot the sticky note's been. I will co-sign 110 on Intel. I mean, there it is right there, 110. I'm going to be going long on that dip. Let's just see if it happens right away early. But it says AMD on the board, so let's go over and have a quick little look here at Advanced Micro Devices. I mean, they just ran through the numbers. And I think it's going to run through. I mean, we said that 390 could have been in play when we were just, I don't know, when we talked about this, it was 415 maybe. Now you're starting to tick down even lower. I don't... Like, there's no levels because we're already sort of green, blue sky up ahead. Hopefully not green skies. Blue skies here all the way to the upside. I think you want to look at a key level of $400. We'll see if there's any sort of size there. But this name's going to, you know, move pretty aggressively straight there off the open. So whenever there's a gap, we say play back to VWAP. But the problem is now we're already underneath that. So I would say if you're going to look for a short, why not just look at this magical level, of course, of 420, because that's where VWAP is sitting right now on my charts. So we can have a quick look at that. If that winds up coming through at some point there too, which I still believe it will, I think AMD has a good opportunity to go down $10, up $10. So if that does happen and you get down through that 400, I think we'll base out and then rip. So, you know, you guys see the way I trade. I mean, you know, you'll see the marks on the board. We just got to wait for it to settle down. And I just don't think it's really worth jumping into something so early on this name because all the smart money is going to hit this thing one way or the other. And we just have to react to what we see. So we'll wait for those imbalances to come out on AMD. Hopefully it'll be to the buy side for those of you that are long. And then that should create a little bit of a move higher. And then we can see if it does stop and give us some sort of an area of resistance. Because right now, the only thing you can really play off is this all-time high of 432.50. And we're not anywhere near there right now. So I think it's a little fool's gold to think that you just want to run in here and start to buy this thing right off the open. But hey, man, I mean, if you're sitting here watching, you know, pick your poison. Neil and I will be in a bunch of different trades, and hopefully they'll be winners. So we'll wait to see what happens with AMD today. But yeah, 400 would be the first spot that I'd start to look at. So if you're interested in some advanced micro devices, let's see what happens at 925 when those imbalances come out, and then we'll play it off of that. For me, because we're not going to talk about Nvidia, Nvidia's the top, one of the top names. I mean, all four of these basically are equal plays. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Yesterday we had an $8 winner on Marvell. It wasn't even on the board there. We could have put down IBIT as well. I wrote down on Nvidia here 198. So I don't like, you know, that move was coming in pretty aggressively here. And if you look at yesterday's sort of levels, 198 would be something right into here. So that was the top. We're going to see if we wind up coming back in and trying to hold somewhere around 198. So that would be a play for me. And again, could be very, very exciting off the open. I'm just disappointed that, you know, despite Nvidia being up today, that's not holding some of those bids. So yeah, it's all going to be, we're going to talk about US, we're not going to talk about USO on there. But pretty soon we'll talk about Corning. We'll do that with NVIDIA. But here we go over to Uber earnings. I'm not sure it's any more important than oil, but we'll talk about Uber right now, up 6%.
Yeah, we were just talking about Uber here on a decent bounce. I mean, liquidity might be the biggest issue here for Uber so far this morning. It's flying around 50 cents at a time. But, I mean, monster numbers for this thing again. 20% year over year on trips, 3.6 billion, 25%. On gross bookings. Like, it just goes on and on.
It just keeps going on and on. But remember, they have Uber Freight. I don't remember the last time you and I talked about Uber Freight, and that's because it wasn't doing that well.
Yeah.
For the first time in nearly 2 years, Uber Freight is going back into positive growth. So good luck for them. That kind of makes them the triple threat platform with, you know, delivery, food, and obviously ride hailing and shipping as well. And now they have more than 10 million drivers and couriers. They've hit that 10 million earner milestone. That's a 17% year over year bump. The reason that that's important, it shortens wait times and keeps prices stable. So good for customers there. And then Uber One, that's their subscription model. 50% of the total gross bookings on their mobility and their delivery were generated by Uber One members. That's pretty good because it's not a transactional thing. It becomes more of a subscription model, which is a bit stickier. Good luck for them. And then last but not least, they have this Shop for Me program. So this is where it allows personal shopping from virtually any store, even if they're not officially on the platform. It effectively turns like every local business into a possible store where an Uber driver can go pick up something for you. And we've been seeing a lot more of that, especially over here. The convenience stores, you see Uber drivers come in, pick up something super innocuous, go back out. Yeah, I mean, it's just anything you want, Brendo.
A Slurpee?
Yeah.
$80 came into play early on this morning. We got above this last lower high or two lower highs on the daily chart, but we're back within that range now. So Needs to hold higher, I think, here, guys, for any kind of constructive price action.
Yeah, 77 and 75.5 are two levels that need to hold on to. Where there was a one-off on some investments that they had, which brought the EPS down, which makes it look like the quarter wasn't as good as it was. But you know how those roll. Sometimes that'll happen, and you have to be able to look past. It was like 1.5 billion on DD and one of their other holdings. So Uber, 77, 75.5. Those are two places that I want to be patient looking in for. The unfortunate thing, I think, here was the opportunity for it to just be a pure breakout play feels a little bit gone as the trade goes. So it's going to be like patience to look for it's pretty much, it's close to that dip zone, right? Like it's one shot down because it's already fallen so far, and I think you get into that dip zone. But if you start losing the prior day high, then you gotta probably just forget about it here. I did want this one to be more of an add potential on the long term, but it's still just not happening. So I'll wait a couple of days here. As long as we hold the 50 period, that would be good. It would have been better. Sometimes I'd rather be buying it higher than buying it lower, if that makes any sense, because at least that would confirm that this is on the breakout path. And unfortunately, that won't be something for the long-term account yet, but that 75 can be today.
I don't know. I really like Uber, but I'm losing some faith in this thing, man. I mean, if this goes higher here today, I might even empty it out. Underneath the 200, there's so many better names out here right now that I can actually see a path forward for. Uber's numbers were not even really that great, but that's obviously why it's trying to pull back a little bit. I really did like it. I mean, it's the first time I've ever heard anybody, so thanks, Sharif, for mentioning Uber Freight. I mean, I've been talking about that for a minute, and to Sharif's point, no one else has been. So I don't know what else is going to be working out for them. I mean, competition's coming. We know the robo-taxis are right around the corner. We know Waymo's there. Sharif brought up a good point about disengagements and stuff that Tesla has that Waymo doesn't have, and some of the data there. So I was just thinking, like, if I'm in Uber, like maybe I should just switch it over, man, and just go with that whole Google stack, go with the whole Tesla thing, because Uber is just, it's like a commodity that I don't think is as valuable as it once was. I mean, I was looking at even Lyft and everything like that. I mean, some of these other names, Uber I think gets a premium on it because of the name, but at the end of the day, a lot of these names are sort of fledgling down to the downside right here. And I wonder if Uber is just getting propped up because it's first mover, and in what should have been really a good quarter for them. Travel was back a little bit, but now you got the higher oil prices. So I don't know exactly how that's. We took Ubers back and forth to the airport there, but like I just wonder about the price of nat gas and everything, or of oil. What that's going to mean for the cost of some of these Uber rides and whatnot, and then if people will be traveling as much moving forward and grabbing those Ubers. But I mean, again, we all use Uber. I feel like probably most of us have the app downloaded, so it is a stock that is definitely one that's in my portfolio, and not. Maybe I'm talking negatively on it because we're rejecting right here this sort of top. But, let's just see if it can get going. Let's give this 3 days. If it does pull back in there, I'll probably trim maybe half of it and just sit in cash. Like, if this market turns around, like we just talked about the huge move that's been happening in the NASDAQ, if this market ever turns around, man, I think they're going to come for some of these weaker names. And I just would rather be in something else rather than Uber. So, I like the stock, but don't love it. And not on the radar today, sorry.
I think it depends. We're just talking about getting to the airport around here and how much it costs. It's not cheap from downtown, that's for sure. GLW 190 seems to be holding right now on the back of this deal. I was trying to find, there was a note this morning that somebody actually broke down the details of this Nvidia Corning tie-up, going to be for 3, it looks like, facilities. So even Corning getting the nod here from Nvidia this morning. It's worth noting Nvidia will have the option to purchase a bunch of shares here as well.
Exactly. They don't just make glass for the iPhones. They make a lot of fiber optics. As you mentioned, 3 advanced manufacturing facilities are going to be in North Carolina and Texas. Are going to be entirely dedicated to optical technologies for NVIDIA's AI systems. And if you believe the reports, are going to create about 3,000 permanent jobs. That's a good look there. The deal expands Corning's U.S. Optical manufacturing capacity by 10 times. And the thesis here is that NVIDIA is moving deeper kind of into this co-packaged optics. It's replacing copper, Brendo, with glass fiber in its AI skill racks. And the reason is, fiber optics moves the data faster, and it uses about 5 to 20 times less power. And for something that we've been talking a lot about, power constraint is a real bottleneck here for these data centers. So should be very, very interesting to see how this one trades. Meta had already previously committed $6 billion to expand the North Carolina facility. So there's just more money on top.
This is, I mean, we were already at basically all-time highs. So easily all-time highs this morning again, 190, 192, above that 180 pivot on a higher time frame here. This chart looks great as well.
Yeah, like it's not a new theme, but certainly you're gonna the efficiency gains are pretty prestigious, as Sharif just mentioned there. But ultimately, because it's not relatively new, like you already brushed up on the 200 level here on Corning. And if you look at each of these moves off of the 50-period moving average, okay, it's like pick your spot for when it comes back in. Like sometimes you will just see something hug the moving average really well. And the further it extends away, like the last time it was a double up. So you could make the argument that maybe it goes that far, maybe it just goes the notional amount further. But I like to think that the way the market is at these highs, you're less likely to have as big of an extension as it did, say, at the beginning of the year off that 50 before you get an opportunity to dip in. And the thing that it's got going for it is, at least for today, the NASDAQ pulled under VWAP. Intel just broke the low of the day. AMD's well under the volume weighted average price. All this with oil futures going up and still USO still kind of trending higher as I look over and see what's going on. And Corning has been able to hold on to VWAP, and it's been respecting VWAP today. So I think that gives you something to look at for the open. I don't love like the spread on this one. I've actually never day traded this stock before, so it'll probably be a pass for me. But I think if you're looking at this, it's showing you where its relative strength is lying, and it's lying off that 50 period. Sorry, not the 50 period, off of the volume weighted average price here today. Its gap fill is probably too tremendous to worry about catching dips off that level. So I think look for that VWAP to hold. If it can, exercise some caution around the 200. And then we had a super chat. Oh shoot! I guess we have 2 of them, but there was one before for Joe. If we can throw it up, Andre, and I do believe I got an answer out of Joe. He's not sitting at his desk, but I messaged him. Omen. So I messaged you in the chat. Joe basically was like 340s are expensive, so locking it in looks good, and a good problem to have, obviously, like 340s for Friday when it's sitting at 400. What are we at now? $405. Obviously fantastic. As far as the Go Habs go, hey, they're a Canadian team. Maybe not, most Toronto fans aren't usually Habs fans. And I've been really liking Buffalo, especially with what they did with the anthem the other day. But that's a tough one because you got a Canadian team versus an American team. I love Buffalo, and I'd never really liked the Habs. It's just hardwired
I like
not
everything
to,
NHL.
But it's a Canadian squad. And my boy PK used to play there, so
it's amazing what a.
I'm like 55-45, I suppose, for Montreal because they're Canadian.
Yeah.
But I do like Buffalo a lot. Oh, and we have another one. Adam James abroad is AMD 180 again, yet asking for a friend.
Nope.
We'll let you know when they split, and then we can start talking about 180.
Yeah,
although I guess they wouldn't even. They probably would split to 40, 10.
My kids went to the same school there as PK Subban, so we do like some Montreal aspects as well. But today we love everything NHL because of the Maple Leafs. Staying up late to watch you from Australia, thank you so much. I already responded to that. That's an old one.
That's an old one? Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for that super chat, and we really appreciate everybody staying up late, early, whatever you're doing right now across the world. And we want to thank almost 600,000 subscribers right now. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, keep this party going. That is for sure. Party in the left of them, party to the right of them, party with SMCI earnings last night, and they came out. We weren't sure if they were going to come out or not, and we had, we had 450 written down as a potential. I think it was 405, something like that. It came out almost immediately.
Yeah, they were one of the first.
Yeah, SMCI. So let's go back and read about it, and then we'll see if they can hold that 14% SMCI.
Funny how when they're better than expected, they come out right on time. When they have some questions around the earnings report, they tend to find a way to delay. But yeah, huge move after the close tonight or yesterday. We've been doing nothing but coming back in here this morning.
Yeah, oil. We'll have to wait and see how this all works out. But we know that they missed on revenue, but there's a good explanation for why they missed on revenue. At least this is the explanation being offered by management. They said that it wasn't a demand issue, but more a site readiness delay. What does that mean? It means that customers have ordered these server racks, but the actual sites, the data centers themselves, aren't built yet. They're not ready yet, so they can't ship them there. So they haven't realized that revenue. That's what they're saying. So the top line miss being explained away by management. But we also saw a huge beat on EPS, 84 pennies versus the 62. Well, how'd that happen? Well, because they're rolling out direct liquid cooling, DLC technology, and they're by shifting the mix towards this more higher margin liquid cooling racks, they've actually achieved 58% sequential improvement in gross margins, and that's boosted up from 6.4% up to 10.1. So an improvement there. And then last but not least, Brenda, we know that there's been a lot of bad publicity, bad headlines around the founder, smuggling some stuff into China. So the deal is, despite the bad headlines, neither Nvidia nor AMD nor Intel are canceling their relationships with SMCI. It's full steam ahead.
All right. I mean, there's a ton of levels we can look at if you zoom out a little bit here, guys, for SMCI. As we said, though, direction is down right now.
Yeah, well, we do have these imbalances that just came out. So we can have a quick little look over here as we're just talking about the Maple Leafs and having a banana. I bet, sell. Nvidia, buy. I was looking to see, sometimes we do see SMCI. Oh, there it is, a small little bid there for SMCI. So even though the bid looks to be small, SMCI continues to make a move higher there. So I don't know. I mean, you can read over the numbers. I mean, obviously it's a good report there as the boys just reviewed. But look what we just ran into. I mean, I don't like. We talked about Uber running into these levels and coming back in now. You even have a problem right now, even with Nvidia, around that 204 level. But it's right into here, $34 for SMCI. You like to see it hold that level before I can say, like, you know, let's really get excited about this name. I still think that there's too much stuff about it, man. I mean, if you look at a weekly chart, there's been so many, you know, ebbs and flows in this name. And again, but you know, the products the server side, the racks, everything like that, there is need for that. There is you know, purpose for SMCI, and you can see that their sales are still going to the upside. It's just a matter of you know, can you withstand some of the volatility? So that's what it looks like on a daily chart. It's a big sort of middle finger right now to the shorts. But the shorts are still going to win if this doesn't break above $34. So I actually play the other flip side of this and go short if we can get up to that 34, or even here 30, even whenever this high is 33.20, something like that. And again, no, I don't hate SMCI, but I do think that if you do get into those levels, it's a good opportunity to short it. And I just wonder if people will take a little bit of profit. Those that have bought down here, waiting for that quarter, you get a good number. Unfortunately, whenever I'm in a sort of a beta version here, so I have to refresh sometimes for the percentages. But up 13%, I think, is a win. What the expected was probably something around here.
It was. I think it's really close.
So options are going to be like back and forth on that one. So let's just wait to see what winds up coming through. Again, I think $34 is a sell for me on SMCI, and I'm not really looking anywhere lower. Unless we get to yesterday's closing prices, as I look at the chart around here, about $28. But I don't know. I like the names I like the stack that I have here.
If it dips, you can always buy Dell. That's the thing. Like Dell just made you could make an argument on sympathy, but I mean, whatever. Like everything's up, so Dell could just be going because they're Dell, because they're maybe a little bit better. But I think if there's a drag down in SMCI, then maybe that would give you an opportunity to maybe pick up some Dell on an actual upward trend. I was short SMCI. I mean, it'll be hard to tell, but it had a good resistance spot off 28 pretty much all day long. I was shorting that. If I see something like that pattern up again, then I'd probably go back to it. But that top is at 34, 35. Like when I was looking for that one short on Intel at 110, it's like, well, it might get there if it goes parabolic. It could happen. Absolutely could happen. But I just don't see us If we get back to the 28 level, if I think a level like that to short, I usually would want to buy it on the way back through. It's just too much diddling in the middle for SMCI for me, whereas I think we have a good range on Intel. I just saw, must be maybe a sell imbalance on Tesla there. No. I
mean, the market's
really
pulling back a lot. I mean, we were up 1.5%. You're only up 0.9 now.
Yeah, Tesla just had a bit of a candle down, We just dropped a couple of dollars here on Tesla. It was only because of right at 928. And sometimes these NASDAQ ones will come out with their imbalances at 928. But that just took a bit of a right turn to the downside here, as we still are dealing with USO at that key 136 level. If we don't get a pullback from there, this market's going to want to dip, and you want to be patient off of the open. Oh, we have one more name to go. I thought we were done, but apparently ANET with a question mark.
A couple minutes to go, real quick. They're not all great this morning. ANET one to the downside.
Yeah, big move down here, Brendo. Their Ethernet over this net technology is not really being adopted as quickly by some hyperscalers. They're basically still using Nvidia's Infinity Band. Also, their enterprise campus segment saw a 4% contraction. Looks like the IT department's trying to keep an eye on their budgets, and they're using old equipment for longer, so a bit of a tough look for them.
Yeah, worth noting, if, again, we start to get a little bit more of a steeper sell-off here for the overall market, guys, this one looking like it might break right now. Good luck.
Yeah, it might be.
30 seconds to go. We did have a good, what's up, Rob? We did have a good look for Oscar, but it's pulling back in as well. So I just want to go over that. Someone was like, oh, what about Oscar? I just found a tweet here on OSCR that I put out in last August, saying that we liked Oscar. Oscar, I like. Oscar the Grouch right there. So that was about 12 or 13 bucks. So we'll see if it can get going. It's not one of those crazy names that we're going to be looking at here today. So Intel, right now, we only have 10 seconds to go before this open. Intel at 110. I mean, that's a level that we looked at. We're not going to sit there and take it, but we are going to watch out for Intel right here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We count a little fast as we get ready to open up, and there it is. Now we are now open with the NASDAQ open up 0.8. Welcome to the jungle, everybody, right now. So we do get a nice little downside play here in Intel now taking out, well, it just did take out 110, but bounced off of that. So let's just let this name settle down, and it looks like they're starting to go to the downside. This is what we mean about waiting for things to settle just a little bit. There goes Intel.
AMD a little bit.
Yeah, AMD, AMD up and down. Yeah, not too bad there. Watching out for Intel because it is bouncing, not bouncing, it's getting downside, but it's bouncing into that 110. We'll see if it wants to wind up holding that one. Intel downside, we're looking for Marvell, we're looking for Nvidia, we're looking for Google. But so far, so good. If you're short, the market's definitely giving some back rating.
Afternoon support was about 107.5 on Intel's, where I was looking, SLV 68.5 if that actually wants to pull back. But the NASDAQ's pulling back, the ES is pulling back. I'm seeing USO hold the highs, but silver's not really moving. You know what, this happens all the time. You got to get used to it, where we see like SLV and IBID, and sometimes you're just not moving as often or as big as some of the other names at the open. So as Intel's still about $1 away from going anywhere, AMD's catching a bid already.
Yeah, it's nuts.
AMD's already catching a bid. It's starting to go ham a little bit. But Intel, it's in the target zone. It just hasn't really reached that bottom yet. Still want to try to be a little bit patient with them. Uber was after earnings, and that's already bouncing. But hey, that didn't go anywhere near the 75 to 75.5. So that didn't even come close to dropping in at all. And as I said, USO is still pressing those highs. I think you want to see it revert this 136 level. That's a key spot there for USO. If we start breaking down from there, I think this NASDAQ, we can finally catch a bid.
We just missed our Nvidia bid because we wrote down 198. It went to 198. Well, first of all, I'm not bidding anything, so we were waiting for it. 198.60 could come back in right now. Watch out for that. I mean, it's breaking back upside now is Nvidia, but a little look there. We'll watch out if it does come back into 198. I don't mind that trade. We may sit there and take a little bit. I'm still looking at Intel. So, there's AMD. I wanted to say about Intel, like, I'm going to go long if we break above this 25 period, so 110.75s or so. So if we do get going on Intel, I will punch that long back in there. I don't know how low this is going to go right now, but if that does happen, I don't mind taking that 25 period moving average. We are going to keep checking back on it to see if it changes. USO, of course, was a dump early, and now it's a pump. So as Iran, I guess, is saying, puff, puff, pass. on that. And of course, it's drill pass, and we'll see what winds up happening there. Nvidia's a moon right now as well. So there we go. We said SMCI could potentially be in a short there at 34. We just got to 34, and now it's trying to pull back a little bit. So watch out here for SMCI, as that's now up 20%. And, trading as we sort of thought it may have there, SMCI. Okay, here comes Intel. Looks like we could get long very, very soon. Again, as it looks like it wants to break back above. I'll take this until 110 breaks again. So right there. Now we're long into Intel. Let's see what happens here on INTC.
Yeah, it's looking like this is an absolute breakout. So we're going to get silver once we break that volume weighted average price. But you did say that 35 on SMC. 34 in SMCI. It didn't quite get there, though.
There it is.
I was sitting there waiting for the 34 half, but it got to 32 only, so it's going to be a bit of a disappointment. But silver just broke the volume-weighted average price, so we're going to be jumping into that one for my first of the day. Just waiting for it to start taking out VWAP and break this little bit of a trend as the market catches that bid when USO finally turning around. I still like the reversion on USO, but it hasn't lost 135 yet.
All right, we just took a dollar there. I don't know. I mean, we're just doing what we're doing every day here, trying to find the best trades we could. And there it goes, man. It's a now dollar club on Intel, and we've already sort of, like we said, man, we both say this consistently, one good trade. There it is. It's 934. Our daily goal is now met, and it's almost a double right here already. So, this is we did this yesterday. We're doing it today. We're having a lot of fun with you guys here as well. And this is the thing. Like I said, the minute that Intel breaks above, I said 110.70, we're going long. We're long at 110.73. So, we just got to make sure that we do take some profits out here. And wow, now it's $1.25 and starting to extend even further right now. There goes Intel, exactly as we wrote it down. That's why preparation is extremely key. We'll hope that silver goes up. We've got Intel now absolutely ripping. We'll see if we can get into the double dollars right now and go over to Adara.
Keep an eye on the market and on oil here. As we hear reports from Israel that they're actually not aware that President Trump wanted to strike a deal with Iran. They said they were actually preparing for escalation of the conflict. And apparently, Israel's chief of staff said that Israel is on, quote, high alert to return to a strong and broad operation that will enable them to deepen their achievements and further weaken the Iranian regime. So Israel still wants to fight. They had no idea that President Trump and the U.S. were trying to strike a deal with Iran. Back to you.
Israel don't care.
So
we don't have locates on USO, apparently.
Oh, okay. No USO, no problem. Right here. So I'm just going to still continue to watch this. We do have AMD trying to go back up to the upside as well. I'm thinking about where to put a stop on this name because, the profits are just piling in there. I'm actually out of 2/3 already on Intel. That was such a quick trade, man. To see that flash in there that quickly, it's pretty incredible. When these stocks start to move, it's like, oh boy. And all you can do is kind of just chuckle. I cannot believe that just happened. But there it goes again. A little bit more outs there at 112. It's their 200 period moving average. So here this thing just pulls right back in again. So we want to make sure that we are exiting as many shares as possible. Less than 1/3 left right now. And our stop is at 110. So we could wind up giving some back if it does break back down below. So we'll take another out here in the 50s. So there it goes, another out. Now let's just kind of see how far this one can fly to the upside. Like we say, man, one trade, that's it. Marvell, I was looking at 171 there. I mean, again, we nail the price, but it's the timing, right? And it's you can't, for me, I'm not sitting there, the worst trades. And we've now had, I don't know, man, weeks and weeks of just really, luck, I would feel like. I mean, when you're putting up the numbers, sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's skill. But, right there, if Marvell kept on going and gave us a bottom, maybe there would have been something. But here we go, man. This is why we start to empty out some of the clips here, because now we're coming right back in on Intel. So maybe silver and things like this are what's good right now, because some of these stocks are just bouncing around a lot. There's a lot of action here this morning.
Well, right now, it's we just pulled in, we broke VWAP, went from the quarter to the even. We haven't got the pre-market high just yet. So it's still, we're going, but we haven't gotten to the top. Once it gets to the high, I want to get out, look for the next available trade. USO, it's weird. We've never had to pay for locates.
Yeah, I know. When you said that, I was like, what?
USO, and I
have seen it actually be pay for locates a couple weeks ago, but initially, when the conflict started, it definitely wasn't.
But the thing, what I'm actually mad is I just went ahead and paid for it. There's probably a reverse ETF that I could have just gone long in. And I'm like, off the top of my head, and then forgot about it. But I might.
You probably paid $1. So.
No, it was super cheap. It's just that there always is a reverse one, and that's an option for you out there. But we broke the support, and by the time I was even able to get the locates, I didn't want to chase it a full buck. When you're going headline to headline, to me, like I want to have tight risk, not chasing it and risking $2 instead of like 75 cents to a buck in that range. But SLV's pulling back to VWAP. So can we hold on to the volume weighted average price is going to be the first story here, right? Can you hold on to VWAP, hold on to these higher lows? Because if not, then we'll be regretting the fact that you had to be sitting on the offer to get SMCI.
Yeah.
You're not
34?
No, 33.5. Like you had to be looking to short it into the high on the daily, which like it's 34 to 34.5 on the daily chart. It just never really broke much above the 33.5, but it is starting to come back higher. So there might be a second chance for it to get up there on SMCI. Oh, AMD, which we should probably be talking about. AMD holding the 420 level. That's very key. Like 420 was a good pivot. Can we hold on to the bid there? Trying to reload this SLV off of VWAP, but I like the fact that we're still holding this slight pullback on USO. That'll be pretty key. But if you can't find continuation, remember, this has been an uptrend in oil, which hasn't been good for the market so far.
So we did wind up getting out of our Intel there when it does break back down below, but we panicked and was getting out here at 110. So we wind up just making our daily goal there. We were up almost double at one point, gave a little bit back, but there it goes now, breaking back above. So that 110, we'll still stamp that, maybe get back into that if we get an opportunity. Hopefully we do at some point get back into that. As we go, let's talk about some other names that are running. I mean, that SMCI, man, we called that 34. Hopefully, we'll be able to get it again, 33.50. We'll try to sit there and grab that. I had mentioned, and I don't know what Uber's doing, but not doing much right now. I'd mentioned I don't love this name. We'll see. Doesn't look like the market's loving it right now either. Nothing really going on with Uber at these levels. And the other name we liked was Google down there at 391. I haven't even looked at these names yet. Okay, so now we might have a good bottom here at 393. So we could definitely have a quick look there if it does wind up pulling back a little bit. But Fed's Muslim speaking here. We got to go over to Adara and see if maybe she's got something on that.
I have some comments from Fed's Muslim, actually, and he's coming in pretty cautious today, for sure. He said the Fed is still dedicated to their 2% inflation target. He said that there are current scenarios which he believes could result in rate cuts, but also in rate hikes. He says there are reasonable scenarios that could keep interest rates unchanged for a while. So basically he's saying that almost anything could happen at this point. He said the current policy is either neutral or slightly supportive in real terms. He said that the focus has been moving more towards inflation, that the Fed should be concerned about underlying inflation alongside tariff and oil-related inflation shocks. Back to you.
We never even mentioned, thank you, Adair, we never even mentioned Novo Nordisk.
No.
Novo was another big gap up in report. Yikes. Well, if you have a scanner up for things that are moving, then this is probably on it, I'm going to guess. And that's filling in the gap right quick. Well, you know what? It's not breaking out, so it's not going to 50. Anyways, watch out for 45 if you're looking at Novo. Pretty crazy action off of the open, but we are starting to catch a bid in the NASDAQ, which if we're catching a bid in the NASDAQ, why are we not filling in this gap yet on SLV? It's reloaded off of VWAP, but it's basically got it's sitting quarters to 70s right now and not making that second break when realistically the NASDAQ is trying to fly. Look at the wipeout bottom. If we can just get through VWAP, I feel like we should really start going here, looking at the Qs here instead of the futures. But you get the idea, same thing.
Yeah, I tried to buy Intel. I tried to buy some more Intel there when it broke through 111 again, missed it. So now I have a bid at 110.94. Man, that would have been good. But there it is. We did dump it out of it, and we got it, like we said, man, that broke 110. So could have stayed a little bit more disciplined. Well, that was very disciplined, but could have got a little more aggressive, I guess is the other word, and waited for 109. But we didn't want to do that because we saw it. We didn't have a third. We had about 20% left because we got a little bit out. But that 20% could wipe out. Like you make $1 or $2 and then you give back $1. It's like that kind of part sucks, right? So, all right, I have a new trade idea though, and it's not even on my board. It's Amazon. I just really like that movement there through 274, giving it us to 273.50 as a potential bottom. So if Amazon does come back in, I do have a bid right now at 274 flat. So if that comes through, maybe we get a bid there off VWAP. And then I only want to give this one 50 cents. And that might be a mistake. Maybe we got to give it a little bit more if that does come in. So we'll see if that one's, you know what, I can just put the order in right now. 273, I don't think it's going to come in, but in case we get a flash down, 273 quarters we'll get out if that one does come through on Amazon. So we'll have to wait to see for that one. But yeah, all is well that ends well. So and Nvidia did make a move through 200, still at 200 right now. And you know, again, not so much movement on that one to get me super excited about Nvidia right now. You did talk about Novo Nordisk. Eli Lilly was trying to go through, well, not trying to, but looking at $1,000 anyways. Their early 995, nice little move there in NVO. Did you call it up or just mentioned it?
Like I did call it up.
Okay,
It
so I don't
really dumped at the open. That's going to be a big disappointment because I thought that had a chance to break out. All right, this is not going to be good, I don't think, because we're making the run at the 136 in here. So if we break out this top, like the last tranche of SLV is probably going to come out. But if we reject the 136 level, I'm looking for a chance to get, back in is the wrong word, but to actually get the short failing this level, just want to make sure we're holding underneath. This is such a strong move back up in USO. This is the problem. Like you go tit for tat, you get, you know, we have all of that goodwill or all the exuberance in the market, and then we get a couple of truths and a little bit of back and forth, and we have nothing but uptrend in USO. I like the fact that the market is able to shrug it off. But I don't think, if we start breaking that high, I don't know how good we'll be able to do that. AMD's holding the 420. That might be another opportunity here. I've been looking at SMCI too much, and maybe AMD off VWAP was the right thing. SMCI's having trouble getting to the top. And on the daily, 34.5 was the level anyways. So I'm just going to put that one on the side burner for now. We'll hold on to SLV. That's still holding VWAP, but I don't love the fact that we didn't make a push, and that's because the market is teetering. You're at the volume-weighted average price on the Qs. You're at the big resistance level on USO. Need to make a decision. Either we pull back on USO and I go short that and add to the longs, but if USO breaks out, then I'm taking out these longs and waiting for SMCI short. So we'll wait for the next couple of candles to give us a reason to make another move. Already reloaded once here. No point doing it again if we're not making another higher low.
Yeah, we're still waiting. We're still waiting for that SMCI trade to come through on the top there, as people saying they're reloading it. So good luck with SMCI. We do have a new.
Even at the high.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. We have a new position here, Amazon. I mean, we said we'd take it. I just starting in with a quarter of a unit right into here. We've been bouncing around a little bit. We'll take something out at 275 if it gets up there. But I still want to get this VWAP. So I want to still see if we can get back in and into 274 or so on that one. So that's why, as we say, man, we're starting a little light on this stock right now, and hopefully be able to get it upside, and there it goes. So there it is, and again, so that's at 50 cents there we take on it as it gets right back into 275. Hopefully we can start to get going just a little bit. I really like the data name Oracle here as we talk about the space again as some of these data centers, and you know, Oracle's definitely trying to get into that game with again a lot of money on the line here for Oracle, down 0.3 today. So just looking at some names that are maybe going a little opposite of the market today. Oracle not holding fort too well, downside there. Oscar was giving it back pretty good early. Still doing that, down to 1850. But potentially a decent long there, as you can see here on our 5-minute chart for Oscar, just hitting right now down at these levels. So it's always difficult to make a solid judgment on day of earnings where the stock's going, but this is a decent level here for Oscar. If you had told me that, like, you know, it was pulling back from 20 into like 1850, that probably would have been a buy. So looking at that right now, but you know, we're already long here. Amazon. Well, Amazon doesn't matter for Oscar, but we're trying to get some longs. SNDK, is there finally going to be a red day?
I thought that was, oh shoot, I thought Oscar was battling back.
Yeah, no, 1850, no, hang on. It did have a nice move back. But there's, look, I mean, SNDK almost putting a red mark on it. Oh boy, we're getting right back to those levels again here on Amazon. Let me put another offer out here at 95 and see if we can grab that. So there we go, man. We took $2 plus there on Intel, and we're trying to do something similar there on AMD, but Intel was a missed opportunity because we went long there, got dumped out on the one move back in, and there it goes as we miss the reload there on our good friend Intel.
If I'm following my list, I actually have to look short on Uber here. I wanted this to hold VWAP, but 77.5 was the key price level, and it's rejecting the volume weighted average price. So if you're rejecting VWAP on an open breakout and then you lose the key support level, then I got to be short. It's got to break 77.5. So I wanted this to be holding the volume weighted average price for some kind of a long or fill in the gap. But if we lose this bid here, I'm going to end up in the short. AMD's pulling back a little bit. And USO, oh goodness. Sometimes you just have to be very, very patient. Oil's going to move today. It's just not right now. Just expecting something to happen here when like nothing is going on in USO. But there goes Uber. So again, I wanted to be long initially if it was holding VWAP, but the market started to show a little bit of strength, so it's a break, and if it breaks the volume weighted average price, which is about the quarter mark, then we just get out there. 76.5 and 77 would be the two target outs. So like at this point, like we're looking for the dollar as the range here, hence you got to give it a little bit of room.
Okay. Yeah, we're just looking for some other opportunities. I was actually looking at IBIT right here, thinking that there could be a trade in IBIT down into yesterday's close. This has been a key sort of area for me, so we can look at there. We did get out another piece. Now I only have, I still have about 70% of that position there on Amazon. But there it is, 46 and change. Good level for IBIT. I'm actually debating picking something up right here. What's the price of Bitcoin? 81.7. Okay, so we can have a look over there for sure. There goes Amazon, man. Let's go see if we can get that into it again. We're doing it again here. We're doing it live every single day. Amazon, we're going to go 2 for 2 today with Amazon and with Intel, and there it is. This is why it's hot, because that's your dollar right there again for Amazon. So hopefully that can keep on heading to the high side. As we love these names, man. We love anything to do with the cloud, anything to do with data centers. Amazon, AWS, definitely working out right there. Andy Jassy and company. We had looked at, and again, I have these triggers set up. So Google gets nowhere near 391, so we don't have to really worry about that one too much. So we'll have to wait if Google gets going. I think IBIT might be the only one right now that I'm seeing that could be executed. Nothing else is really at too many key levels. But you mentioned AMD. I mean, nothing wrong with looking at this name.
It's losing VWAP as well.
Oh gosh, I said this name could get right back to 430. Damn it! That should have been a target of mine there. So 430, good level. I mean, you could rewind it right there to maybe price of 920 whenever we were talking about it. I was like, would not surprise me for sure on earnings if that does happen, but it's a bounce off your 200 period moving average. So I think if you like it again, you got to wait for 410 now, as this one is definitely moving and shaking. All right, Amazon's up here. We have PMI coming for Canada at 10 o'clock. We're going to get out another piece of Amazon right here at 75 if we're able to, and then we'll see about that IBIT trade.
Yeah, I got to imagine IBIT's trying to go. The market's catching a pretty solid bid here. Still looking for, SLV just has to get to the high of the day at this point, or we get a reload in and around that volume weighted average price. And then the new position was Uber. I'm still surprised about Oscar. I swear when I looked at Oscar, it was parabolic to the upside. It goes to show how crazy the market is off of the open. Like you flip from one stock to another, and what can break loose. So we just got some in front of 77, the first half dollar. We're looking the next half dollar at 76.5 on Uber, and then more of a gap fill lower there. Man, I keep wanting Uber to be a breakout, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't want to go. Like the market was catching a bid, and it's starting to lose contain a little bit there.
Amazon.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Amazon.
That was one of the greatest, the first time.
The Rock is the best.
Now AMD losing VWAP here. USO still not making any moves, and SLV was just going, and then it goes right into that even dollar, and cannot break out again. Didn't get that second tranche out, so not going to be reloading the third time. If it's not moving, it's not moving. Uber looks much, much better. Get through this even dollar second time, and I want to look for somewhere in this range to get the next out. If it craters down, I have orders out, but inside of this 50 pennies, like if it bounces 10 cents away from my order, I'd probably just swipe to be able to get the profit on that name there. Don't know what's going on with USO, but that's been an absolute nothing burger. I'm so shocked. Like I never put USO on my list, and it's not even
today.
But it's not even moving. Like I'm watching, it's like watching paint dry on oil when we're supposed to have all this volatility.
I like that. It's like watching oil paint. 274.
Yeah. Although watching paint dry, it's like
450.
Some of these things, literally nobody ever would do that under any circumstances. And you know what? When you do, it's because you're having a few brews after, because doing a good painting job, like you have a few brews after. I'm usually having fun when you're watching paint dry. Because you finished the job and now you're just chilling, relaxing. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing in my opinion, but whatever.
Okay.
Chilling.
Yeah, I don't know. Good luck to Marissa. She's starting pickleball today, so she's on her way to pickleball. Hopefully,
Nice.
she tells me there. I told her that I'm really good at pickleball, even though I've never played it. So we'll see here. 273. I think it's great. We did play a little bit of it there in Mexico with my daughter, but she's an animal. So all right, 273 here. We did average in. Remember, we're going to drop out of this one if it does break through. So you're getting back to the lows here as the market continues to go upside. Maybe Amazon is not the right play to go long. As the market, I mean, we picked out the bottom, I thought, anyways, but there's no bottom, it seems like, on Amazon, as it is having a problem getting back to the upside. So we just bought some 70s right there. Our average price is 95, so we're not too worried about it. It will be a 60-cent hit if it does come back through, and it just doesn't look like it wants to go. Market trying to retrace back upside. Amazon not really doing a great job here of following the market. So, you know, that's something that, okay, it has to go now. Like I was going to say, it hasn't gone through 70s. There it goes. We take a piece out there. We're waiting for that bump up into O's there. So starting to go back up just a little bit. It had to break through 70s, but once it did, I don't know. See, it's so easy to get hit back, right back into the downside. I think we've got to put out another offer up there in the mid-90s again. This looks like we will get stopped out of Amazon. So let's leave that alone just for a second because we already have our out, right? 273, double check. Yeah, 273 quarters out. So if that happens I do have an offer to get out some more at 95s. There it goes. This is why Amazon's not hot. All right, Tesla was a 400 look today. Tanked.
It always says it didn't get to 400.
No, well, actually, it went. It was at 393 in the pre-market, all the way down to 383 right there. So this guy just bought here. What's up? Oh, me, Westermeyer. Hey, what's going on, my guy?
20 puts.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
That's expiring today.
Yeah, expiring today. Yeah, 5, 6. Okay, so yeah, I didn't necessarily think that we go from 400 straight up to 430. That did happen. I would say that you're probably wow, okay, now Amazon is starting to go. I think you probably got, yes. All right, I think you probably got one there, D. Westermeyer. I think I think AMD, the sellers have come in. I'm just getting out some more here because I did not love this Amazon trade after all. Hopefully it can go up. But yeah, I think the sellers are here now, right? I mean, we made that move up to 430 sort of as it was written there. And boom, now right back into the downside. Let's see if the buyers come back. I said, you kind of would have to be a little bit, I don't know, extremely bullish to be buying up here today on AMD. So I think that you might have something there, Westermeyer. So let's see if that can work out for you. I like that call.
It's looking pretty good with the market bouncing here that it's losing VWAP on AMD. I think that's a good sign. The market bounce and the fact that we pulled and filled in this part of the gap on Uber, but that's as far as it went. So like you said, you have to have bids out there. So when it hit that, it basically hit the dollar mark and bounced, and then I trailed out. I don't want to have a winner turn into a loser, and part of me still kind of favors the breakout over this price. If we're being real about it. SLV continues to just hold on, still looking for it to get to the quarter. You've held VWAP. There's a trend forming now, so at least I can work with something like this. It's cold in here. Hands are cold. Yeah. So forget about that bottoming tail wick. Those are like the 8 o'clock maybe dumps. I don't know how far that wick went down, but if I just connect it from here, you've got a good trend line that corresponds with the long off of VWAP already. So I'm going to work the trend line here. The stop now moves to just a break of the trend line, which oddly enough is the exact same thing as VWAP being lost. I think we're going to Adara at the desk, are we?
Keep an eye here on VELO. This seems like purely speculative as far as I can tell, but again, as mentioned, pure speculation going around that Citadel could have taken a stake in the company. This is VELO, Veloso. Back to you.
Thanks to Derry. Yeah, there goes Amazon. As we said, the spidey senses are up, man. And we were able to get out of, we had less than half when it came back in. We probably had 40%. So a loss there on that last reload there for Amazon. But at least we sort of had that feels. Now let's see what happens now if that does go up or down. But we did get stopped out there on AMZN. So, we talked about our winners, talked about our losers, of course. I am going to try to step in right here into some 29s and change on IBIT. So we'll get a little long here at 29 and see if that wants to work itself out. I think we got some 29 halves there. So here it goes now upside on IBIT. We'll see. We talked about how we did not mind this trade in and around those areas. We should try to get a little bit more. If it does fall back in, I'm still bidding that 29. So that would be, for me, not necessarily an area of concern, but something that we've seen here on IBIT. Nice little drop in there into yesterday's sort of closing areas. And that's what we wanted to look at. So let's play off of some of these bottom wicks. Like that should be a stop again for me around 46.20s. So if this does go back down in, let's go break through 46.14. All right, we'll do that. I don't want to get too many shares there. Maybe we'll get a little bit more at 25 if we're able to. But so far, we'll just sit here a little bit. See if we can average up. We'll get some 31s now. We don't have too many shares there at 29.5. So see if we get some 31s, and then there it is. We get filled there. Oh, thanks, ARCA. You can see some ARCAs or Ps right there. So
the rotation is happening right now.
Oh.
AMD to NVIDIA.
Okay.
Big money is rotating. They're selling their AMD. They're buying NVIDIA. This might be NVIDIA's moment. If everyone that's been waiting for it to go, it feels so right. Because like the NASDAQ caught the bid. It's like, well, AMD's losing. AMD's losing. It can't seem to catch the bid. And it's NVIDIA that's catching. I saw a lot of people in the chat were mentioning this. It wasn't on the radar today at all. But that's a fantastic sign. It doesn't bode well for AMD. And if you're wondering why the NASDAQ just won't break anywhere, I think it's because we're waiting to see what the next shoe drops is here. I don't know what to tell you. USO, as I said, it's just flat out not moving whatsoever. But I'm out of Uber, and once again, SLV, like we're climbing. I like it, but there's no push through because the market's holding these gains and going sideways. It just needs one good push, and then we can get into like a take out the high and buy the dip kind of mode. And it's across the board. If you're not looking at some crazy chip names, I want to see some actual direction here, unfortunately. I'm not sure what's going on with these quantum names. Did one of the quantum names, none of the quantum names reported.
One of the reports after the bell tonight, that is IONQ at 4:05 p.m. Nothing. Otherwise, I looked into literally all of them on social media and on Benzinga. There is squat.
Thanks, Adair, because I keep seeing, I look up at our visualizer, I look at everyone in the chat, and I see a lot of people mentioning the quantum names. And Rigetti, it is making moves, but it's not breaking out this daily yet until it gets above 20 and a quarter, maybe. So you're $1 away. I think this has some serious, there's some squeeze potential with these names. But it is worth watching. Chris just said in the chat, Rigetti. Yeah, well, you know what? It depends on where you got in. You can't hold these things down forever. Like Rigetti did an unbelievable. All of these quantum names. I say this. Look, I own D-Wave. Still got some D-Wave, but you gotta have banked. Like, look at the move. You know you have to bank on the way up on these things because it comes all the way back. And I think you bounce right where the breakout started, and I think there's something that could happen next. But holding for the Christmas tree. It happens. I did it. Look, man, I did it during the marijuana craze, so it is what it is. Super chat from Desirous Philosophy, Neil. You gave me a new perspective on paint drying. Well, as long as, if you do it yourself, you celebrate a good day's work. There's nothing wrong with that. We're going to go up to the desk with Adair.
Big old push to the upside for this market, being aided in large part by reports that Iran and the U.S. are nearing some kind of agreement here on a deal. It's also being aided by strong tech earnings. We'll get to the tech earnings in a bit. But here's some of the details here with oil. We had a report from an Axios reported by the name of Barak Ravid, who's been very active throughout this whole conflict. He said that, again, the U.S. and Iran are actually nearing an agreement in a one-page memorandum that could end the conflict. This actually includes Iran making some concessions about their nuclear program, which doesn't really sound like something Iran would agree to, which is why we get then denials from Iran saying that they have not agreed to this proposal and they have actually viewed some conditions within it as, quote, unacceptable. AMD on watch here, earnings day one, giving back some of this move, but generally still up quite nicely here. EPS and sales beat and better than expected guidance. SMCI, UPST, LCID all also reporting. And GLW to the upside, but not an earnings report. They're up here after making a big deal with Nvidia, expanding U.S.-based production of advanced optical connectivity solutions. Good look here for GLW. Tons of earnings after the bell, guys, so stick with us all day. Back to you.
we're starting to fall back in quite nicely here on some of these plays, right? I mean, it's we were very, very patient. We waited for Intel to get into 110, and now it's here. So I'm only going to give it 25 cents to the downside as we try to. Remember, like catching falling knives has been like the way to lose a lot of money. So there's no point. And if this does break, we're just going to get out. My order's already there, so you'll see. We put in stop orders. If certain levels hit, there it goes, comes out. So we'll slap the fail on that move back in on Intel as there comes the market. Maybe it's time just to trade. I wonder if that is a little bit of a bounce there off that level. This is what I mean by not trying just to get right back in immediately every time on that. We'll try again at 110. This time we'll go a little lighter and see if we can hold it just for a little bit of a move back up there. We did like that level, but it has broken before right into there, 109.60. So we can give this one just a little bit more room down into 109 and just to see if it wants to get back to the upside. We're still green on Intel, so that part's all good. But we have given some back on that last move. So, all right, we'll wait for a little bit of a bump up there. Wait for 109 to come in just to make sure that this move is something that wants to continue to the downside. We're starting to break. I mean, some of these levels just not really holding out right there. Short-term bounce on Meta. Okay, first of all, maybe Neil can handle that one because I'm on Intel here. There it goes. Yes, let's go, Intel. Nice little move back up to the upside right here.
Yeah, we're trying to get back into the highs here. Like, I'm at the point where if it's not going to get to the quarters on this, might just have to start trailing this one out. We're just not moving. It's nice because the market's pulling back and silver's still going higher, so I still think it's the right place to be. But I want that extension to come through. Shoot, I was just about to read the super chat.
Oh, just about Meta. Well, do you think it's good for a bounce? I'm not. I can look at it in a second.
Meta for a bounce? My gut, before the market opened, I would have told you I wasn't believing that, you're probably talking a significant bounce because it's already bounced off at 600. But if you're talking about like a significant bounce to get back up to 680, like 690, break the 200 period moving average, I'm not sure what the next catalyst is going to be for it. I think Apple's going to run the highs, rotations going into Nvidia, Meta kind of sitting on the wayside. So I don't know. I own Meta. I bought the dip off of these levels earlier in the year. I'm very underweight this one relative to the other Mag 7, but I'm not really a buyer on this one right here, right now, if I'm being honest with myself about this stock. It's making a really nice bounce today off that 600 level, but I came in today writing that one off, thinking this was if there was a non-chip name, it was going to be Apple.
It's
might
Randy.
give you a bit of a chance. Randy in the house. What are you even holding?
Banana or croissant?
Oh, it's croissant. Oh, okay.
Downside right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, downside right now goes IBIT. Looks like we'll be wrong on this one. I mean, we're trying to hold it through yesterday's levels, but as the whole market comes back in, Bitcoin obviously falling back into there as well. So slap to fail on Bitcoin. We tried. This was the one that we were like, should we do it? Should we do it? We did it, and then it just falling back in right now. So nothing wind up holding. And then, we tried Marvell as well. We wrote down 170 to 171. There's the hit on Marvell all the way back down into what? Wow. I think we got out of that one. 167. Okay, when the data center goes wrong, there it goes to Marvell as everyone sees Randy chewing along right there. Shout out to my guy, Randy. But nice hair. We just talked about that. I might have to go see our good friend very soon, Halim, grab a haircut. I'm his easiest customer of all time. Halim.
Well, Randy just shaves it though.
Easiest customer of all time. Yeah, shout out to Halim, one of the best barbers there. As Randy and I continue to go to him now for almost feels like a decade or so. Randy, it's been a while. So, all right, we're gonna try Intel again here, but hey, man, 20 more cents and this thing breaks, we're out. That bottom is 75. Let's just see if it wants to hold it. We're now long at 109.50s. Little bit of a reload, but nothing too crazy. We want to see if this one can actually go upside. It doesn't look like it. Wow, the whole market's coming back in. Maybe it is that short that we were all looking for. I can't believe I missed that 930 there on
another super
AMD
chat. But very quickly, I'm about to trail out. Silver is going to break the trend line here.
Yuck.
Which is, it is what it is. It's still holding better off than the market, but there it goes. There's the break of the trend line. We got VWAP. We liked 68.5, but unless you were sitting on the bid at 817, you had no chance to get that. But still, it ends up working just not as much as we would have liked. Netanyahu holding talks with U.S. officials to better understand Iran negotiations.
Okay, that's good.
Hey, does anyone understand the Iran negotiations at this point?
When the people involved don't, then I don't know what to
do. Exactly. But Intel's back into the target area for me, which was basically just where it was a short yesterday into the prior support. So any reversion off of these lows is going to start to make sense. It would be nice if silver rejects that trend line only to just start holding VWAP again. But I don't want to catch the falling knife here. I still like the long. If we get it down here at 68.5 or maybe at this open range bottom at 69.2, we can try to be a little bit patient with it. Maybe SMCI short is still a bit.
Oh, SMCI, yeah. Is that 34 yet?
You know, oddly enough, like, well, why? It's relatively
I'm offering
short.
33.50, so if it hits, I'll
It's very orderly downtrend into VWAP here.
All right. Intel, you know, we were positive on it. We stayed with it. We're back to the green side. Well, we're always on the green side of this one, but back to the green side here for Intel, meaning it's starting to go back up. Bouncing again, and, you know, playing breakouts worked right there because it was already made a move down, then it broke back through those bottoms and broke through the 25 period moving average. But this is also a way to get into that club, and that is on dip buys. But you got to have the market with you, which is why it's very dangerous, because, you know, if this market keeps on going down, then this all of a sudden does wind up becoming a hit, right? But you are, you know, if you're playing in the right space, the right momentum names, you know, when a move happens, then you can definitely see what the market wants to do when those moves are there. So I'm going to take out one more piece. We missed it. Well, I'm out of half already of this trade, but willing to get a little bit lighter there in the 80s on Intel, because when this thing starts to go, a term that I coined around here, meme crazy with Intel, that was Nvidia was the first one that we've seen go meme crazy. But you know, Intel has that capabilities as well. I actually think Intel tends to go more meme crazy now than Nvidia, but there it is right there. Meme crazy just means all of a sudden just the offers just get lifted and it just goes and goes and goes and there's absolutely no stopping, and like you could put out like a 204.05 and just get filled immediately because your offer's out there. So that's what that means, and we'll see if that wants to continue to go upside here. 204.50, would like to see a break in and around there of Nvidia, just to make sure that we can get going. There it is, another out happening on Intel. Now let's wait to see if we can actually get a 50-period moving average on this name. Remember, our stop is now, it was 109, whatever that bottom was, 109.70s there. Sorry, 108.70s. So nice little appreciation in the value here of Intel. And I guess our Westermeyer trade is going out pretty good. This is one that I missed.
AMD's bouncing.
This is one that I missed, man. 430s, that was a good trade. Oh, well.
Yeah, the 420, but those expire today, right? So, I mean, at some point you want to take...
Oh, those ones? Yeah, he might already be out.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, why wouldn't you... Could easily have just been out there on AMD. I'm just looking up at AMD, but SMCI, that was a pretty orderly trend break off of the volume-weighted average price, but that's too much of a chase up here. It needs to be in the 75 range. Where I'm just gonna sit, because sometimes when a stock is volatile, you were just talking about with Intel, like it might just do one of those wick shimmies and pick me up on the bid, and then I can give that to VWAP, but I can also just go right back to the well with one of the two that works. So I trailed out of SLV, but there's a nice hold of that volume weighted average price as well. So I might look to get back in as long as we can hold these higher lows and resume on trend. Already that's worked. I'm glad we got out of Uber short. Take what you can get. If the move is a buck, you take the buck. Uber's already bouncing. This could take VWAP and turn into a long on its own as well. And finally, you're getting some weakness in USO. That's what you want to see. Like USO is just wicked above 136 and is reversing. So I like that sign. I can probably just get back in almost where we got out of SLV, because you're getting a rejection here on USO heading lower. I think that's going to be great for the market.
You know which one name that's starting to go real hard here was Microsoft. I can look at Oscar again. I'm going to double check that account. I do have some Oscar positions obviously on. Internet.
So one stock we're not really looking at.
Yeah, I know we have. Yeah, no, that was a good point. I didn't even think about oh shoot, I have all these wicks here. But I wanted to show you, if I can get rid of that wick, there goes Microsoft. So we talked about how the market's trying to battle back upside right now. Looks like Microsoft is trying to hold fort on all of that. And you know what? I mean, if you are looking to trade, why not look at Trade the Pool? The reality for most traders is it's not skill holding them back, it's the size. Trade the Pool changes that. Step into the U.S. equity market with up to $200,000 in buying power without committing your own capital. Full access to stocks and ETFs, both long and short executions with precision and freedom of serious traders expect. Your performance is measured by one standard: discipline, risk management, and consistent execution. meet that standard and you operate at scale, which is what we're trying to do. No subscriptions, no ongoing obligations, just a clear path forward. For those ready to trade beyond limitations, this is your next level. Please visit Trade the Pool, one word, tradethepool.com, and use the code TraderTV, one word, TraderTV, to grab 10 percentage points off of your order. So yeah, thanks to Trade the Pool for that. And as we just mentioned there, man, that's all you're trying to do is get better at your execution, get better at your discipline so you can size up. I mean, that's often something that's very common that we talk about around here. And that is once you have enough confidence in your trading abilities and in your strategies and everything, the right thing to do, and we want to thank Trade the Pool for, you know, tagging this as well, is to size your game up. And if you need that, firms are the place to go for that. Yeah, wow. Talk about a name that's on fire right now. Microsoft says, hey, what about us? As that just starting to rip to the high side now as well. So some of these other names look to struggle, just like Intel there, coming all the way back in, right? I mean, it cleared out at 110. We'll have to see if it's a reload or not down here. I'm not loving the reload. I can try a little bit because I think the risk to reward now is about right. Oh, here we go. We're about to, right until it was wrong. There's a little bit of a reload. Intel obviously hitting down back through now. So it's Microsoft leading the way right here. Intel coming back in, and I'd imagine something similar with Advanced Micro Devices. Yeah, good call there. And then still waiting for SMCI.
It's all the different names going.
To hit our level.
Right, like Meta's flying. Yeah, Meta's flying. Yeah. Meta's like at 600. We got that super chat. Meta was at 608. Now it's at 613.
Boom. Yeah, it's the beat up names.
It's real. It's the beat up names. Yep. Like, there's a rotation going back in. And all right, I did pick up that. SMCI did pick me up, but SLV, it would be nice to have gotten the re-entry where we had it off of VWAP earlier at 70, but we just got in where we got out of that. And now it just reached that high, the pre-market high. Come on, one more tick up. I missed by 1 cent. All right, we'll put it actually at just in front of the quarters, just moved it. We'll probably get that fill. SMCI did swipe me into VWAP, but that just, when you just said Intel and AMD caught that swipe down, this looked like it was cruising. We're chilling out, breaking through 33. We got the 3/4 mark. We're through 33. It was going to the quarters, about almost 50 pennies in the money. And then everything swiped down on some of the chip names there. So I don't like that as a reload. Like, my first thought was actually initially short this thing. So I just took some out on that swipe down. Yeah, it was a good trend break, but that swipe down in the chips, I don't necessarily love. If you lose VWAP, I don't want to reload that one. Not going to do it. But we did get the target on SLV. So basically just re-enter the long trade where we got out and then play it into the high. So that's worked out. SMCI can go, then we're looking pretty solid here. And still haven't really found anything else in Uber, to be honest with you. We started out with that one to the short side. Take what you can get. Now it's a breakout long. Maybe should have been in there at 77.5. Not going to chase it. We'll just see how far SMCI can go. That gets to the high a day. That's also resistance on the daily. Like, remember, SMCI is running into a bit of a brick wall up here. So the long is good to the high, in my opinion. And then we'll just take it out there.
I'm going to take a little bit of Tesla here. Oh, I keep trying to get this bid, but it's just keeps on raising. Oh man, look at that. Like, there we go. Now we have the low of the day on Intel. So congratulations on that one. As we stop out right there. And we gave it a little bit of room. This reminds you of what happened yesterday to one of the stocks. Can't remember what it was, where we had that low. We kept on trying to rebuy it. We rebought that break there, and then it didn't really work, and we were able to average into it back to the upside, and we could have done that again on another 109 break. It looks like that might have been the thing to do. But you know what, man? We're not going to worry too much about that because there's our Tesla fill that just comes in right there. Now we just take 70 cents again on Tesla as, we just switch it up. We go back over into something that, has been really rocking there today. So there goes Tesla. And just as quick as you like, there's $1 again on Tesla again. So I don't know, man. Some of these names just bumping, and there goes Tesla, new trade and dollar right there. So we don't worry too much about some of the past mistakes, but you still got to be, responsible for them. Wow, Tesla, $1.70 upside there for Tesla. We just got into that now, and there it goes. Wow, okay. That frown gets turned upside down quickly on Tesla. There it is, man. There's $2 right there on TSLA as we just got into that, and I'm glad we talked about it. So there it goes, man. Tesla trying to fight it. We said we were trying to get in on that bid, and we did. So nice little move there. I was going to try to get some more 391.50s, so I am sitting down there in case that does come through. But hey, for right now, let's see how far we can go here with TSLA, making a little bit there on that one. But yeah, glad to see Meta still a position in pretty decent position in my account. We actually talked about that earlier. I was surprised at how much Meta I'm holding. Hopefully that can get back up to the upside as one of the laggards in this market. And, you know, Intel, there it goes, man. Don't be fooled. Right back down in again. So I was like, man, too bad. And then whoosh, right back in there. So sometimes you make the right calls on plays like that. And so far, so good there with Intel. Just wait. Yeah, no, I missed on IBIT. So shout out to you, Pops Mafia. I was in it and then I was out of it. So yeah, this just came into yesterday's close. It's what we wrote down on here. And, you know, we can't be like, oh, we missed our sticky note. So we took it and it did not work today. So right into yesterday's close. And then once it broke that level, we got out. Right there about the 3 o'clock lows. So yeah, I like IBIT still, but as you can see, the market right now not liking much as it's trying to pull back in as well right now.
No, I'm going to go gut call. We're not going to get high a day on SMCI. Well, I want to stay so far fortunate. Like all three have worked today, short and a couple of longs, but SMCI doesn't really push through. And ultimately, if I liked it better as 34 short, I want to find a place to even be in the short position. SLV that's the one. If we can catch that bid again, the trend has just been pretty clean on this. So much, much better. Like I'd rather, instead of hoping that we get VWAP to high of the day, let's just look at the thing which has given that to you twice and look for a re-entry into SLV. So we like the long here. When you look at what the USD is doing, it was weak. When I talk about like the structure of this one, right? Like wait for it to either, man, I guess it really did fill in that gap, but the chances of getting that wick, unless you're just sitting there catching a falling knife, but it's just about breaking back above. I like prior resistance turning into support. The once it was support, it was VWAP, there's your confluence. There's still a little bit more of a gap that we can go. High of the day into about 71.
Oh my God,
so
AMD.
If we can catch a bid, that could easily be one, but you're right. You just said, oh my God, AMD.
Yeah.
Like it's pulling back. The market is pulling back. That's why I ran for the exit there on that SMCI. Like take what you can get and don't be upset. And if anything, I'm gonna look for an opportunity to be short this name. Go back to the original thesis here. SMCI did not break the high. It did not break the afternoon, the aftermarket high either. All you need to do is consolidate under VWAP and then go for the short. You even have the. We're gonna go to the small cap recap, but we haven't talked about the memory names. They're even worse. Micron, LOD, SanDisk. Basically like $10. Yeah, basically $10 off the LOD, but it just got to that bottom and bouncing. The market is making a bit of a left-hand turn or right-hand turn to the downside. As we go talk about some small caps, which we really haven't looked at yet. Adara?
We've discussed these earnings plays a lot today and for good reason, so I think it's very fitting our first small cap today is actually an earnings play. Entravision Communications reported after the bell yesterday, EVC, got, I think, under $500 million market cap. So it's definitely small cap here. Reporting a earnings here of 13 cents per share, up from a loss of 53 cents per share last year. We also have sales increasing on a year-over-year basis to 196.97 million. AHMA, no news on Ambition's enterprise management, but it is worth noting here you've got a $48 million market cap, 1.2 million share float, 60% short float for AHMA. So that is, again, a 60% short float for AHMA, 22% short float for the last name on the list, AVTX. Yesterday, or last night, I think Avalo Therapeutics pricing a public offering here at $375 million for 19.73 million shares. It's going to be at $17.75 a share. Currently trading at $21, and Wedbush up against price target for the stock from $29 to $40. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. Intel just lost that afternoon support from yesterday, so pretty much nothing doing in there. It just continues to flush further. Come on, SMCI. Like, you've broken VWAP. You get even like the smallest bounce back in here to the upside. And now what I can look for is, yeah, just hold VWAP in the other direction here for Supermicro. And look, it was a great quarter. I mean, it was a great quarter, the guidance for them. Still, I don't recall hearing what the reason for the revenue miss was on the call, though. Because they missed revenue by 20%, which just seemed like something was off with the analyst projections there. But the guidance, absolutely fantastic. But you know what? The market's pulling back in. And I want to correct something, because someone in the chat's like, what are you talking about? The stuff I'm looking at isn't at the market lows. I wasn't saying everything is at the lows. I was talking specifically about the memory chip names, and it was like Micron and SNDK. If I was saying, yeah, they're all at the lows right now, WDC. It was specifically memory stocks were already at the low before the market, maybe showing that that's where the turn might come from when they can pick up a little bit. But at least for now, there's a bit of a drag on the market here with SNDK, Micron, with WDC, as we said. And AMD as well. Don't forget about AMD. AMD could break the $400 level. I'm kicking myself because in my personal account, I was like, if this euphoria gets armed to 250 before earnings, I'm going to stink offer some out there, which is just put an offer out that's far away. Probably should have just taken the market on open to trim 10% of ARM. But I guess we're now rolling the dice on that 10% into earnings tonight. They better not miss, because it's a double top on the daily. And if they miss, this could be back at 200 pretty quick.
Yeah, I think it's in the, I mean, we talked about it. I think it's in the right space. I really want to get into
I think they'll beat, but does beat mattering after?
No, it doesn't. So we'll have to wait to see what winds up. But again, I think it's because it's in the right space. So we'll have to wait to see. There's Randy. And there's the reload. Thank you, Randy, for that one. Very, very kind of you.
Yes. Thanks, brother.
What happened?
It's like he knew. I just finished.
Thank you. Is it cold out there now today?
Yeah. Well, freezing, it's probably.
What is it? What is it right now? Oh, yeah, 7 degrees. We were lucky to get up to like 22 or 23 the other day. Was it Monday? Monday was crazy. I was talking with one over there. He's like, oh, my God.
Baseball's starting, man.
Yeah, baseball. Yeah, it wasn't snowing. It was snowing on the weekend in High Park. We were sitting there. I was like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, we got the dome in High Park, of course. So, but yeah, that sucked.
We're talking about kids' baseball.
Yeah.
We don't have that advantage.
Yeah, we could have it, but
the dome is horrible, by the way.
Yes.
Although I'm old, man, like my league played their All-Star game years ago in the dome. I think we played like a 5-inning game. I played 4 innings in center field, and my knees were killing me. The turf, but when they say the turf, the old turf, when they say that free agents didn't want to come to Toronto, that turf was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Like, I'm like, this is for pros? Are you kidding me? And now it's a little bit better.
No, that's what
you still have Springer won't play on it in the outfield.
Yeah. Well, Springer's an old man just like us as well. So it's George Springer. Good year last year. Good thing Vladdy got a little benched there yesterday for a day off. This guy needs to start picking it up. You pay these guys, man, and then that's that. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he can ride the coattails of his World Series performance, although it would have been nice to win, of course. Hopefully get back there. All you got to do is get there, and then hopefully the rest takes over after that. Amazon, I mean, 270, 250, hoping to get out, hoping to get something in Amazon, but not really doing a whole heck of a lot there as Amazon, so can't really do too much there. What I'm waiting for is Tesla to pull back into 390. I will take that trade if we do pull back into 390, into 391, into 392. So that could definitely be something there to look at. So that's where I'm bidding right now in the space. And Neil mentioned Oscar. I did just put out in my own account an offer at 415 to get some out of AMD because I feel sick not doing anything about that name and then seeing what it winds up doing today, up to bouncing off of that 430 level. But there's Oscar, so nice little move back up there, up 7%. So we'll see if Oscar Health can hold bid. And Uber was another one of those earning names that we looked at earlier today, and that's nicely off the bottom as well. This is why it's so tough to trade earnings names on day one, because the sellers come in, like I said, you wait for it to find a bottom, and unfortunately we weren't here, but that was a pretty easy one there on Uber, so definitely worth looking at. And you want to talk about another easy trade that, again, mentioned but didn't take it, so who really cares, because you can always look at a chart and say, should have gone short there. But yeah, we did say that it was going to probably get back up into the 430 area. That's what happened, and then whoosh back down. And there's that 400 bottom again that we had mentioned. So, you don't have that one either. So, it's $30 one way and the other there, and that was a great trade trying to buy that dip into the pre-market lows again for AMD as stocks starting to finally catch that bid again. We're just sitting in the dollar right here, seeing if we can break back above. Maybe I'll put a little offer there at 394 to see if we can get that. We'll go to 85s, and then maybe a blast higher. iBid is really Marvell, we lost about 50 cents or 75 cents there, which was brutal because it kept on going to the downside. Maybe we'll wait for a bid somewhere around there on Marvell. But yeah, right now I'm just waiting for Tesla. Hopefully that comes in. And if not, maybe something else will.
It's interesting you mentioned IBIT.
Yeah.
Because IBIT right now looks like a good trend break all
at the
morning
level
long.
we liked, but
Like it sort of waited for this one to do this and didn't wait long enough there on IBIT in the morning. Like it did some trends down, but I was looking for it at VWAP every single time instead of just trying to grab that trend break, and it did it twice where you got that bottoming tail candle. But it's now broken this little trend line here, so I want to grab it if I can, give it to the prior bar, which is, I don't know, like 46 teens or so. So looking to get picked up in the low 20s and then try to give it to those teens. SMCI, grabbed the under VWAP short, it just bounced off the even dollar. So we're in at 30s. I like this bottom at 31.5. We can get there, but the market's trying to catch a bid. And we pivoted back and forth off of VWAP here. And I'm reminding myself that, hey, USO did reject 136 and is holding lower. A bit of a positive sign. So if I can't get that IBIT or I can't get that silver long back into silver, that's nowhere near VWAP just yet. I do want to look for another long if we break down in here on USO. IBIT stands out because it was that trend break. SLV, it's still maybe working its way back down for a re-entry into the long position, but I can be patient with it. We managed to get in kind of at the right time each time. I don't want to, at 10:30, I don't want to sit there and start chasing that move. Just because buying a higher low worked out, that was a pretty hefty bottoming tail for a reversal. We're still working our way back into VWAP as far as I can tell. So patience here, but I do like silver. If we can show another bounce off the volume weighted average price, just break it into that HOD again. Nadera?
On MSFT, this has been really strong all morning, but it sounds like at roughly 10 a.m., just seeing this circulate now, Microsoft said they were, quote, significantly investing in data center regions across Europe. So again, the MSFT move had already been happening. We were probably around here when we got this pop, but either way here, MSFT announcing they're significantly investing in data center regions across Europe. Back to you.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. When we talked about that, I was like, wow, look, I mean, some of these, poor stocks were the ones that were starting to take off here today. And what we mean by that is just names that haven't made these sort of all-time high pushes. And there goes Microsoft. We were wondering what's next. It looks like they'll just say, you know what, man, we'll just start talking about data centers. So there it goes, all the way back up to the upside, as these guys are no fools. Nice play. We do have crude oil inventories coming out in just under 1 minute. So, yeah. We'll have to see if that does anything. USO did have a nice little move there at 10 o'clock and then just came right back into 133.50 again right there as well. So watch out for 133.50 and change on USO. We'll see if that winds up holding. It's been a good hold for about 20 minutes or so onto that side of things. So, yeah, we'll just, we're still about $1 in the money. We did take another piece out right there on Tesla. We only have about 30% left of this trade, so it's waiting for that 390. Maybe we do get a move back in. If there's any names you guys like, PMAX, this one is EUDA is halted. UDA Health here, only 161,000 shares, so not a whole bunch going on there right now. But here comes USO.
It's a rare earth IPO today.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's something to look at.
It's supposed to be Rare Earth Americas on the 90s. It's supposed to be. Let me just see if it's in. Yeah, you know what? Okay, I can't pull it up. It's scheduled for today, but maybe it's being delayed or they didn't get it into the database. Either way, it's REA, Rare Earth Americas on the NYSE market, which would be formerly the AMEX, but I just tried it and I can't pull it up on any of the exchanges. So maybe that one's, that sucks. Hopefully there's just some kind of a delay on that one. It would be pretty interesting if there was. I did see in the chat, NNE making power moves up 15% today. If that space gets going, come on, please tell me. Give it to us. Give it to us, SMR.
That'd be nice.
I haven't looked at it today. It's back above the 50. You're not pressing $14. This is a $14 breakout on SMR, but you got to get through 13 first. All right, that's a bit of a nothing burger. I see NNE up, and my first thought goes over to, hey, is this the place that I'm getting back into? Getting more shares back into SMR. I still hold SMR shares in the long-term account. Still much of the same. We're short SMCI under VWAP, just waiting for it to get down into 31.5. Had it long. Remembered that, hey, Don't necessarily love that long, and it didn't follow through. So we're going to continue to wait for that low of day there. No reason to really change unless we break out. And again, just want to continue to play the trend on SLV. Never picked up IBIT though. It came down, tried to snag me at the 20s, and if I've missed it by a bit, I'll just get half a little bit higher and then see if I can't get the rest on that original bid at 46.2. We do have crude oil inventories, but you know what? Inventories haven't been moving the oil futures that much, but I guess you got a draw of 2.3 versus 3.4, so smaller than expected. USO, please go down. Yeah, USO going down a little bit here. That's a good sign.
Yeah, we'll have a new position right here, as we haven't had too many positions today. Well, actually, I've traded more today than I did yesterday already at this point. Tesla's pulling back in, but I'm going to go short Amazon right now. We'll see what winds up happening. So we do have a decent position on now for Amazon, waiting for that break there of, it's 16s. I just put 16 in there. We want to give it a little bit more on the high side of that one. So let's just give this one a little bit more, 274. 26s, then we'll go a little bit higher on that one. Want to get a little bit more at 74, and then just to see, right? I mean, there's your but then there's the 200 period moving average. I'd hate to maybe, we can wait a little. Let's just wait a little bit more on that Amazon. Let's go to 274.50. Make sure that that's where it breaks out to. You got to give yourself a little bit more room on a day like today, as this market is, obviously pretty choppy. So, you don't want to be thinking short and then it just kind of like ticks up into this area and then it, falls right back down in. It's kind of like you're not going to pick the tops or the bottoms there unless you're on, Intel's down to 108 right now. But I'm going to try Amazon. Just a little surprise here with the market up 1.17%. It seems like there's some more attention right now, maybe on Microsoft with that kind of a move, as Adair just highlighted there for Microsoft. So I wonder if I don't think there's people are going to switch out of Amazon into Microsoft, but definitely, we talk about going where, the puck is and where you think it's going to go. So I think for right now, if this Microsoft rate is catching that sort of hot take, I still got to get rid of that. I don't know why I don't do that. And it's just no red candles pretty much all day there for Microsoft, let alone this 5-minute chart just goes tick, 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 boom right there for Microsoft. So we'll hold out hope that maybe Amazon does have a little negative reaction to that move in Microsoft, but our stop is right there. So now we're 20 cents away from getting stopped out. It could be a 50-cent hit on this. We don't need to reload it. We have enough shares right now to see what happens with Amazon. So that's just another trade idea here. Shorts and longs kind of just been back and forth here today. Tesla into an area, but I'm not buying this one until we get a lot lower. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening here with Tesla, hopefully into 390. Amazon's a new idea, but might not be good for very long. It's Amazon time.
It's always Amazon time.
Yeah, definitely in my house.
I think one of the things you can look for with the Mag 7 is, hey, if you want to buy the dip, just find the one that's the cheapest on a relative P basis. And go with that. That worked so well for Alphabet last year. And I think you really can't go wrong. I'd have to double check, but I still think Amazon's over 30, and so is Meta. It might actually be Microsoft. Might be softy right now. I did get into IBIT, but I don't think we're getting any more than like a 40, 50 cent move out of SMCI here. And if that's going to be the case, then I'll just make the adjustment. The market's catching the bid. I've already flipped into IBIT, and I'm already looking for a reload into SLV because that's continuing to look pretty good. So now I'll just get the 30 to 40 if we get that. Looking for VWAP first on IBIT. Hopefully we can trend higher to the upside. That's right. We also want to check out what's going on with USO. Better still be going down. Still very slightly lower. Like it. It's rejecting that 136, so we're headed into VWAP. That would be the concern. Like, you get to VWAP and bounce, but as long as we're trending in, I think the long has some room to be able to work. And better yet, if we lose VWAP, then you could get a chance that we get in here and we can be adding on the way up. But it's going to matter what oil futures do big time. Blicky Spears, why is Tesla afraid of 400? Because it's a round number, big options level, and it's the 200 period moving average. Ton of confluence at that level. And there was a huge consolidation or accumulation, some people would like to say. I'll call it a consolidation because it was on the way down. Accumulation if it's an uptrend, in my opinion. But yeah, you had the 200 period moving average. You've got a lot going on at that 400. I'm pretty excited when this breaks out that price. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us. But
So we just went right back into flat there on Amazon, but I don't know. That's right where VWAP is. So we'd like to see a break there of VWAP and then downside, because we're about a 60 cents worth of risk on this, because we're going to get stopped out if it does break through 50s. But with the market, you know what? Maybe it's a better look to short this market, but I don't know, man. I mean, I do like the Tesla long and just waiting for that to come through. Like to see a little bit of a pullback, that is for sure in this space. So we'll see if we can get something going there with Amazon. Not huge positions, because as I said, the market just hasn't really been able to find its way. We were down to 0.8, something like that on the upside, on the downside, and now you're all the way back up again into where we've been, the open market highs now. So we've already sort of doubled, triple, quadruple touched some of these lows right there. And now we're sort of doing the exact same thing on the other way. And there goes, there goes Amazon breaking. I was like watching the futures there and thinking like, why is that happening? And let alone Amazon doing this. So Amazon looks like it wants to go right back up to the highs of the day. We were long early in this area, but we just kind of went long in this area, then we went short in this area, and then there it goes right back up to the upside. So we will not be ringing too many registers on Amazon today, as that one falls right out again. But I feel like it fit the portfolio there. I mean, that looked like a short. It does blow it to the upside. Maybe now we can wait till we retake that level back down. But for right now, Amazon, we got to get away from that. The market can't seem to be doing anything productive right here. So we'll wait and see what winds up happening. If there's a top take somewhere, I'll just have to check the scanners right now. IBIT, like we did say we're going to go to Adair in a second. We were long on IBIT there, and that didn't really work, but it was these levels too. So everything's sort of just hovering for me now. So, weed, okay. Let's go to Adara, and then we can come back and hit some hot stocks, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll see if I have anything on MSOS. Not seeing anything right now. What I want to talk about, though, guys, is USO, because we're getting more comments from the U.S. on the Strait of Hormuz and the blockade. They said that, excuse me, so far, 52 vessels have been ordered to turn around in the Strait of Hormuz. So, again, U.S. oil update, very minor. If I see anything on MSOS, I'll let you know. Back to you.
Yeah, it was just like a volume spike like this can be enough that it'll hit some of like your hot scanners for a minute, and then there's no follow through. So my guess is probably a nothing burger there. If there's no follow through, there's no trade. They said, if it's only going to move 1% inside of the range, that's what happened above VWAP. That's what's happening below VWAP. So if I get it on SMC, I'm just going to take that one out. IBIT's still doing its thing, so we can be patient with it. It broke the trend line. We got in. We're looking for the volume-weighted average price. But I would love USO do something, first off. What I would love to do right here is we're at $400-ish on that AMD, right? I haven't done a poll.
Is it all the way back down? Ugh.
Well, let's see. Let me double check.
Yeah, probably, right?
Because I haven't looked at it in a second. I just went over to a couple of different names. Okay, 408, whatever. That's close enough. What I was going to put here is a custom poll. It's just going to be, where does AMD finish? I can't say red or green, so we'll just go over 400, under 400. Pretty simple poll. Yeah, if you think we're holding over $400, then just vote. Here, I'll start the voting now. Just type in a 1. If you think we're going to be under, then type in 2. I feel like everyone's going to be bearish on this one today with the profit taking. I just put my vote in there. We'll leave that one up at least until we get to the midday boys there. But it's bounced off 400. That's why we picked it. Just keep it pretty simple. Nice round number for everybody in there. As the market now busting out through VWAP. Get going.
What do you think is Is it probably Apple?
I'm trying to.
Microsoft.
Microsoft, Meta, and Meta's been a rocket ship. That's at 620. Apple's pulling back. Okay, well, Apple is strong, but Apple's actually pulling back, so it's not Apple. Microsoft. Oh, great! I have these dark pool wicks on.
Oh no.
Should have another one there. Microsoft, barely any red candles on Microsoft on the 3-minute, but it is pulling back a little bit here. I'll have to get rid of some of these. I'll try to do it live and hope it doesn't crash. Shoot, that's why I don't do it live.
Trying to find something that makes sense here, really. Okay. We did get, so we went into the short of the market here, but that's not going to go well. But we did get there because we got out of that one. We did get Tesla back down there. I mean, it fell in. We said we were going to wait for some levels. We are waiting for 390, but it does come in into the 50-period moving average right there, and we wind up taking that one right there long on Tesla. And a little bit of an out there as we noticed that one. So, okay, Tesla. Adara was sector watch. It's 1041. Be interesting to see some of these sectors because today, the whole market right now, NASDAQ and the ES, as we go over to sector, where did my chart go? As we go over to sector watch, will be at day's high, intra-market high. Let's go over and find out which sectors are bouncing around and which are not.
It's funny, Sean, this is the first time in a while that I've seen where almost all the names within every sector are trading together. So you don't have a lot of discrepancy within the sectors. They're pretty much all moving as a unit. Now, this is really interesting here. In terms of what direction they're moving, that does depend on the sector. Utilities, industrial services, and especially energy minerals to the downside. Now, of course, oil to the downside as we continue to get inklings of or hope of some kind of deal with the Middle East, even though, again, there are certain parties from different countries that are disputing that. Either way here, oil decisively to the downside, and the market certainly loves that. Now, in terms of which sectors love that the most, health tech really strong here. Consumer services really strong, led by an 8% move to the upside in Disney. Producer manufacturing looking good here. LRCX up a cool 6.5%, though you do have LITE down 8% on earnings. Transportation strong. Consumer non-durable strong, finance strong, tech services strong, and electronic tech mostly strong. You've got AMD up 15% on earnings, Dell up 4%, but Cisco, Broadcom, and especially Arista Networks, the latter of these having reported earnings, those are going to be a little bit weaker within this space. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. And Dell being the better way to, well, okay, whatever. Another way that you could play the up move on SMCI. I say the better way because it's just a better run company. You know how you better run company than SMCI? You don't have scandal after scandal. It's just that simple. Well, I'm being real. It is what it is. But I'll be flat now on SMCI. It never really broke down underneath that volume weighted average price. And then when it breaks VWAP, we just get out. Didn't really find a secondary long, so it'll just be ride IBIT to VWAP, look for the chance to maybe hold it above that volume weighted average price. It's been a steady climb since. Effectively with just a trend break. If you're only tuning in now, there you go. Drawing it pretty dirty, but it doesn't matter. Somewhere in here, we had the consolidation. Want to see it get to VWAP. Why am I above, not at the volume? You know what? I'll give it a little bit of room. I just offered 42 because I love the number 42. But if we reject VWAP, we'll get the first leg out there. But I want to be adding to it if we can hold above the volume weighted average price. Yeah. That'd be a nice little spot to be able to get it. Space names are apparently flying. Okay. To the upside. ASTS. Go. Hopefully Rocket Lab is having a good day. Like some Rocket Lab. ASTS up 11%. Story here. That's a great turnaround on the trend break. But I like Rocket Lab better. RKLB. They're both good. I just think Rocket Lab has been the better performing stock for quite some time here. Load. There you go. Rocket Lab is bouncing off prior highs instead of only trying to get going. Rocket Lab is only up 5% though. Yeah, but space name's going higher. If Virgin Galactic is going with them, probably fade that thing. Stock's trash. I think on sympathy, you should be selling it. But that's just Adara?
Yeah, more comments here from President Trump. He's speaking to PBS reportedly and saying that he feels that the U.S. is, quote, closing in on a deal with Iran, and they could have that deal before his China visit, which takes place next week. So President Trump is saying they could get a deal with Iran in roughly a week. Back to you.
Yeah, as Trump saying they will see what happens right now. So, yeah.
As opposed to what?
Exactly. I think that's part of the problem with what we're dealing with right here, right now. Okay, so Intel's almost all the way back up. I mean, Intel's all the way, went to 106.50. Now it's all the way to 109.50 again. So a nice little $3 move there on Intel. We'll see if that one, if we have any Intel on that. 110, 111, I think, is a decent short there. We're still $1 in on Tesla. We'll see if that can get back there to the upside. We're taking a little piece out here at 38. So if we can do that, then we'll put another offer up there near exactly 394, which has sort of been the top. We've really hit Tesla real well today. We haven't done anything else that well. We will look at, I was thinking about the Amazon short. We were long and then we were short, and now it's just right back up to this area again. So some of these highs, it's just, like, I wish Trump wasn't yapping again, because the thing is like, who knows? Like, saying if no Iran deal is reached, we'll go back to the old ways. So it's just like, what does this even mean? Are you close? Are you not close? And why are you threatening, again, all these kind of things? But I guess that's the art of war. So we'll see what winds up happening here. Amazon could be a good little take on the short side, only because it's setting that up. And I don't know if Sharif just sat down right here, and Neil, I've been talking about Microsoft all morning, and that's just a real hot name right there. I'm going to edit this.
That's like program buying.
Yeah, I'm going to edit this so I can finally get rid of this little tick here. Yeah, so you can see it just in 1 second. Bear with me. I'll show you what this looks like on the 1 minute
That's what's
chart.
supposed to happen, not what happened to me.
Upside. Yeah, you got crashed out there on your charting. But
it's always.
Yeah, so this is what we're looking at right now. I would like to short the market. We did try to go short there a little bit into the highs. I think got stopped literally right there at 70. So still looking at this short, but I feel like when Trump is talking and there's these potential deals, it's just like, what if somehow Iran does agree to something? This market's gonna absolutely take off. So it's just it's a risk holding shorts, I think, right now for sure. Anywhere, but AMD was the best one, of course, today. Up there at that 430 marker. It's all the way back to 410 right now off of 400. So we sort of did call the tops and the bottoms, but I don't have any ticks here, so that is irrelevant. Let's see what happens with AMD as we get ready to pass it off over to the midday. Still under VWAP, still underneath. We'll see if AMD wants to continue. It's sort of downside push today, but up 16%. Wouldn't surprise me if it does keep going as well. TQs are interesting. Brendan's already, no, that's not lunch. Is that lunch already, Brendo? No, not here yet. Sometimes when I leave here at 11 o'clock, normally I see Brendan grabbing it, but right now probably a little too early.
Because that just means it's sitting and it gets cold.
I know, and we haven't even gone over what's for lunch. That's in a couple minutes.
We will, and Brooke asking an update on silver. I'm no longer in the silver trade, as you guys can see. It did get back to the exit point of the pre-market high. I don't know, whatever. Silver is the 24-hour market. The SLV high in the pre-market is what I should be saying. But it didn't really give me VWAP again. So it's VWAP hold, no pullback into VWAP. So we'll look for something else to get back in. But it hasn't broken out above the top. So I think that's at least something I can hang the hat on. It's only 10:50. We still have more than half the day to go. And we put up that, I thought we'd do better. I thought it'd be more than 50-50. And I actually thought that more people would have said that, but I guess the market's so incredibly strong. 53% or almost 54% saying AMD above 400, which I guess makes sense because it was at like 408 instead of 400 when we put the poll on. But it's still mostly looking green, but very barely. So I think there's indifference when it comes to AMD, but the market does not seem to be indifferent at this moment. Like, we're back breaking out. Would have loved to see a little bit stronger of a push through VWAP on IBIT though. Still holding that trend break, but it goes to the volume weighted average price, pulls back in. Still needs to hold the quarter mark here. If it can hold the quarter mark, that's right around where resistance was the day before. On the 15, this looks a little bit, looks like a good entry on the 15 because you have the reversal of the trend and then kind of entering after it confirms, but you got to hold on to these quarters. So I like the reload if we can bounce off the prior day close here in IBIT. Chris is saying my VWAP is your 200 period moving average. Hey, maybe that's confluence, right? Like sometimes you get that, like two lines will, I guess, merge. I don't have the 200 period on my 15-minute chart or on my 3-minute chart there. I use it on the daily chart, but that can give you confluence. I like to keep the chart down to volume weighted average price and volume at the bottom. On my daily charts, I'll add like the 50 and the 200 period moving average. And now I'm curious what we're going to be eating because we had the delicious, probably the best breakfast that we get. If I'm picking, yeah, I think that's the best breakfast we get.
And why don't we just go over it and find out what's for lunch right now?
I go for fried
here
chicken.
We go. Well, fried chicken would be great. I don't know how often we get that around
Only
here.
if it's an American flag.
All right, let's see if it's an American flag. It's an Italian flag, so.
But, yeah. Meatballs?
It's always the same thing. Yeah, well, no, today, I don't know if we've had this yet. Beef lasagna.
We've never had lasagna.
Yeah, so we'll see.
For sure.
We've had ground beef here a lot, so maybe it's probably just more of the same with tomato sauce. We did have that shakshuka today, which was with tomato sauce as well. So, okay, vegetables, spinach, and Beyond Meat lasagna. Check out some BYND there. So for those of you that are veggies, are going to get some Beyond Meat today. Yeah, exactly. And then roasted vegetable, and then chopped salad, of course, on Italian Day. You cannot get a Caesar salad. You get a chopped salad. As I said, it was garden salad on Monday. It was mixed green salad yesterday. Today is chopped salad. So lasagna is what's for lunch. We'll see. We'll give a rating on that one and see how good.
I just said what kind of cheese is in lasagna. Does it say? It doesn't say.
No, doesn't say. But no cheese.
Doesn't tell us what kind of cheese.
On that one. Yeah, no, we get what we get, and sometimes we get upset, but hopefully not today, as that's going to be a good one. We didn't even look at Corning.
There's a few earnings. There's a few earnings names that we didn't. We'll get to. We have to go to a Dare for Money talk, but we'll wrap up. We didn't talk about Corning. Probably didn't talk about Oscar enough. As that was a big time mover. Novo had some big moves, but we'll go to Adara first, see how the US dollar is doing.
Yeah.
Light day for economic data here. US dollar, though, certainly hanging out around that 97 halves level. That was support going back to a couple Fridays ago now, Friday, April 17th. Served to support again last Friday. Now, once again, here, that 97 halves level, 97.6, serving as clear support for the DXY. Let's see if we can continue to hold this level. Currently, though, poised to break a 3-day green streak is the DXY. Also here, it is worth noting, as Sean mentioned a couple times this week, economic data coming through in a big way on Friday, most specifically non-farm payrolls and unemployment. So jobs-related data is absolutely going to be on focus on Friday. And I think it's also key because look at the probabilities here of a rate cut. Current rate here, 350 to 375. There was a while where we were seeing a rate cut potentially in December of 2027. Now we're not even seeing that. So for the next year and a half, we're not picturing any rate cuts, or at least a probability of any rate cuts for 2027, according to the CME FedWatch tool. Back to you.
All right. Yeah, we are just going back and forth there about how sometimes to get pasta right, it takes time and takes.
You just got a pasta maker. It is.
It takes effort.
It's worth the effort. I don't know if I have the patience to do it more than one time I did.
I don't know, man. We talked about that Amazon short. I actually, if the market wants to lose bid here, I think Amazon right into those highs, bounced off a little bit. I'm a little nervous about everything here with Trump talking quite positively. I mean, every day he seems to be talking up this end, but I don't know. There's the NASDAQ right here is what I'm just zooming out on to see what's going on, and maybe Amazon does give a little bit of a pullback. I'm not even sure why I'm looking so hard at Amazon right now. Okay. Ifs and buts there. So thank you to Donald Trump for that one. If this, then that. So we'll see if there is any sort of a deal making sense there for the United States and for, hopefully a resolution with the Iranian conflict. So we'll wait for that. Intel, wow, right up to, okay. I mean, this is a name that we were definitely on earlier, and now it's all the way back upside. Here comes Intel. I assume AMD also. Thanks for that little look there on the chat. What's up, Barton? Thank you so much for that. Intel and Hood is the play. So yeah, you might be right, man. Intel was a great bottom there at 106.50. A lot of you traders here are really supporting that Intel trade today. So there it goes, upside on INTC with only 5 minutes left before midday. We'll see if we can maybe short some Intel. It's at VWAP. I don't actually mind that. We got to give it a little bit of room, right? Because if you're going to use a 200 period, that's at 110.28. So this is, like we've said numerous times here, Luis, everybody, it's all about the sizing that you have, because if you're going to give this $1, you don't want to put 1,000 shares on here unless that's sort of you're comfortable losing that much, and that's what you got to assess. Where's your out? What's the risk associated with that position, and is it worth it based on market structure and everything? So I don't know if Intel is going to be that trade, but it is battled all the way back to VWAP. So maybe instead of shorting the market, this could be something to look at. Just these names have been going parabolic. Sometimes shorting those kind of trades, not necessarily the greatest. So we can wait on it. Micron did have a dump off. So if you're looking to go bid, maybe Micron was potentially a little bit of a missed opportunity down there at 630. Look at that. Move all the way back, man. That's $25 back up there near its 200 period moving average. So this one may look a little bit better than what Intel looks like, but for now, it is what it is, as we always say. The market on a rebound and now taking out day's high, up 1.4. Hey, it was down 0.8 at 930, or down 2.8. Now you've doubled that move, up 1.5%. This market is absolutely
NASDAQ wants
insane.
2% today.
Yes, probably gets
Seems like we're just chilling to the upside without any. There's no retracement in USO. I really thought there was no chance. Maybe not no chance. I thought we were going to need to see a bigger retracement here in oil than what we got, just to pull back into VWAP, and we're going to head back into the highs. But it is what it is. I bet we're going to look for us to hold All right, bro, we've already got a bottoming tail off of our entry point, so all you need to do in this 3-minute candle is hold, then re-enter, still looking for this consolidation of 46.65. It's like 82,000-ish. We're at 81.6, so like just if you're looking at actual Bitcoin, like 82,000-ish for a target. But we need to close this one green and head back in. It's that and silver that we want to get back into. That one's continuing to hold the trend. It just hasn't really given you much by way of pullback, but you never know. At any particular moment, that could happen. Mike Jones, rest in peace, Ted Turner.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a shame. I didn't see that hit the wire.
Never know.
What happened to the position board?
Is it wrong? These are the two.
I'm still in IBIT.
Okay, these are the two positions I have. So we just have a new position right now. So I know hopefully it'll load up. I should get filled soon, I hope. I just bidding 74s there. It just came back in. Hopefully it doesn't bounce off of us again. There it is right there. So we just bid 74, 75s as we do try to go short here on Amazon against 275.50. We're short at 275. We'll wait to see if it does come back in. I'm bidding 75s and I'm bidding 51s. Hopefully we do get a downside push right there on that one. I do have some offers on Tesla. I'm not buying any Tesla until we get into 390.50. We talked about that. So if that falls back in, we don't have a huge position on. We've been getting out and waiting. So we do have, there it is. I was gonna say we do have another offer right there. That just spikes up and gets us. So far so good on that one. And now we just wait for Amazon to fill us up. Okay, well now it's just doing dancing. So we'll put a little bid there at 85s. Take something out. We got to take some kind of 20 cents on that. And then we'll see if it drops back into the 74 area and we'll take that out. So good move higher there on Tesla. We take advantage of that as we get lighter on it, and we look to get lighter on Amazon. But this is really bouncing here off your 25 period. So I think if we lose that, then this should be close to $1, like for a maximum position there. Not maximum position, for a sort of a target out, 274.20s. Let's put some bids. Here it goes. One more, two more. There it is. Yeah, sir. There we go. Spinning it back in there. Hopefully we end it on a good note here as Amazon looks to make a move lower. So far so good. We're bidding 50s on this one. Here's 50 cents. So, the trades have been right. It's just averaging in and sticking with them. Sometimes not. It's been a pretty choppy market until now. Let's see if there's a little bit of a pullback into that chop again.
Well, noticing that with the NASDAQ going higher, SMCI looks like a short again. So I'm going to take a shot. We have like a minute to go here, but look at the trend. We had it long off VWAP. It went to the trend line and didn't break out. Then we shorted off VWAP. Didn't really give it to the trend top because I was trading off the volume weighted average price, but this is holding. It was holding the trend underneath, which gives me the VWAP entry on the trend line. So I'm just going to pop into the offer here and see if we can't get filled on the way back up. We were patient with it last time and eventually was able to get picked up here. But SMC, look, it was a good quarter for SMCI. Like if you're just tuning in now, it's like, oh, why would you short a stock? It's up 15%. It's just the structure of the trade. They had a huge guidance for SMCI. They've had all this bad news, finally get a little bit of good news, but they run into a bit of resistance up at the top. And now it's just the fact that the market is making higher highs and higher lows, and this is doing the opposite. It's putting in lower highs and trending down. So a little bit of a different story for them. I want to acknowledge we didn't really talk a lot about the quantum names for Getty, INQ after the bell tonight. That'll be a big one. ARM reports tonight. Fingers crossed. Feel like I shouldn't have stunk off. I should have been on the offer of ARM to trim some today. With any luck, I'm going to move my order in the middle of the day. I'm sitting at like 248 or something silly in front of 250, just on the off chance that it got a little bit crazy off the open to take 10% out of a long-term position there. But I think I'm just going to ring the register anyways, somewhere in and around where it is right now. Just got to be able to take a shot at it. Nick Dubb, throw the super chat up. We got just a few seconds and we'll get to you right here. Andre? There it is. Could we take a look at NVIDIA and give thoughts? My first thought is it was a rotation going on, which would really bode well for NVIDIA. If the profit takers, there was a good point this morning. If the chart will load up here for a second. It was a good point this morning where AMD was selling off into that 400 level, and Nvidia was just programmed buy to the upside. There we go, and now it's missing data. It was programmed buy to the upside. If that is the case, where you were just profit takers in AMD flocking to Nvidia, that feels like the start of something good. I like this turn. I feel like this should already be at 240, 250, so maybe it doesn't matter what I'm going to say next, but I really do think this is the next thing that goes, and I feel like we just had the start of that today. Hold on to that 200, and no reason we can't test those highs again. If the market gets back into the top, this could be a consult. Like, look how good this flag looks, and look at the rest of the gap fill on Nvidia. So I like that rotation feel that it had going on with it when some of the memory chip names were weak and when the AMD was weak. The next step would just be breaking this out and doing the rest of the job, because you should be at 240 in my opinion, relative to what AMD's been doing.